Hello there, welcome to another episode of Canada's Movie and TV Hosers. Thank you for joining us. I'm one of the hosts, Gregory Barrett, and with me is my co-host, Christine.
Hi.
And who's our star here, Christine?
Miss Fluffy.
Yep, Fluffy Kitty here. She's finally settled down.
For now. She's still wagging her tail. She's a bit rambunctious this afternoon.
Yeah, she's been a bit all over the place there. So thank you for joining us for another episode. This is a show where we talk about all things we love in pop culture. New and old movies, trailers, TV, streaming shows, different types of books. All kinds of different things, sometimes comic books. Breaking down today's show, I'm going to have the time codes in the description down below, along with all of our social media contact information. So this week we got 3 trailers we're going to review. We're going to talk about The Creator, that's coming out with, what's his name there? John David Washington, I think it is. Haunting in Venice, another Hercule Poirot. That is got trailer number 2, and we also got trailer number 2 for The Marvels coming out from Marvel Studios there. Then we're going to go into our reviews. We saw Barbie not too long ago, so we're going to give a review for that. Secret Invasion, Episode 5, we're continuing along with that. What else we got? Christine's going to talk about The Lincoln Lawyer, Season 1, and all of up to Season 2, probably in spoilers, but we'll put up the warning for that. Was it good?
It was interesting. It's not what I thought.
Okay. She's also going to talk about Jack Ryan Season 4, which finished off as well. I'm going to talk about Star Wars Aftermath, Empire's End, which is another expanded universe. Well, it's not the expanded universe. It's the new canon from Delray Books and Disney Lucasfilm. So I finished another book there. We'll have some time for Chakotay's Odyssey, where we talk about Star Trek Voyager as we work our way through it. Mostly me. Into the DCEU, we're talking part 13, we're talking Shazam, Fury of the Gods. Tarantino Unchained, part 2, we're talking, what are we talking?
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction, yeah. And probably one of the best ones, in my opinion, of Tarantino's movies. And then we'll have some time for viewer comments and everything at the end. So let's jump into our trailers. First one, The Creator is coming out September 29th from 20th Century Studios.
Yeah.
What'd you think of this trailer?
It's like Battlestar Galactica meets AI. Other movie.
I thought it's Terminator meets Chappie.
I was thinking more, well, it's the whole Battlestar Galactica premise of them creating the robots. The robots, of course, then become your enemy. But yet it has
but that's
like
in
a
space.
child.
This is on Earth.
No, on Earth, they blew up Earth. That's what happens. Yeah. No more. They blew Earth. No, they didn't have Earth, but they blew up Caprica. They blew up all their inhabited planets in Battlestar. You never really...
Yeah, we're not talking... We're talking about The Creator.
I know. I'm saying it's like Battlestar Galactica, and it has a child, which means it's like AI. So it's like, fuse those two together.
I did get a little bit of AI vibes, although I'm not a big fan of that movie there. But the kid definitely got AI vibes from that. What else do you have to say about this trailer? Are you a big fan of John David Washington?
I'm not even familiar with who that is, but
that's from your favorite movie, Tenet. That's the star of Tenet.
Oh,
don't know who John David Washington is. It's got Gemma Chan, who is the star of another great movie, Marvel Studios' The Eternals.
2 of my not so favorite movies. Anyway, this is the kind of stuff that I do really enjoy, so I hope that it's going to be good. I'm definitely going to watch it. I love this interesting concept, science fiction stuff. I hope it's good.
The visuals look pretty good. Watching it, especially with the droids there, the robots, look like Chappie to me. I don't know if you saw that one there, but a lot of people didn't like Chappie. I enjoyed that movie. So I got Chappie vibes, but mostly I got Terminator vibes because it's machines rising up and there's a war. That's Terminator, you know? So this is just a newer version of Terminator with a lot of other influences in it as well. So, such as AI and Chappie and I guess Battlestar Galactica as well. Looks quite interesting to me. I'm hoping this is good.
I'm hoping it's good too, because I love the look of it. I just don't know. But hopefully we can take some, even if the story isn't good, we can take some interesting things away from it. It looks really interesting.
I think this is the second trailer from this one.
Oh.
Did you see the first trailer? This one got me way more excited.
About it before. Yeah, me too. I think we did see something before, but I think it was basically about the child, and we didn't see the whole thing about all the robots as much. It seems to me.
And there was someone else in the trailer who we didn't see this time. I can't remember his name. Oh, Ken Watanabe. He's been in lots of stuff.
Oh, okay.
I think he's
Watanabe, probably.
Watanabe.
Yeah.
Okay. He's been in lots of stuff. He was in let's see. He's Japanese. He's always in everything where they got Japanese people. He's in Batman Begins, in the League of Shadows there in Asia. He's in he's in that Last Samurai movie.
You mean he's like a sword fighter? He's like
he was fighting with a sword in
he does sword
The Last Samurai there with Tom Cruise a while back.
Japanese
he was in a Godzilla movie I saw him a while back, which was terrible. This guy's in lots of things.
Okay. Anyway, I don't know. I hope it's good.
Yeah.
It looks massive, like a big project. So hopefully
I hope this is not a great trailer to a movie that ends up being crap.
Yeah.
Because we're certainly not getting any more Terminator movies because they ran that into the ground. If they had just made better movies.
It's not Cameron or Spielberg.
So this is a new age version of Terminator with a bunch of other influences in it. I hope it's good. And if it ends up being a big franchise, I don't know if they're planning for sequels or anything, but it's science fiction and action, and it looks like it could be a good time. And also a depressing war movie. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't.
Which I love war movies. That's probably why I enjoy Terminator 4 more than a lot of people.
Yeah, Terminator is not as much about the machines as what happened in the past or whatever.
Okay, so The Creator is coming out September 29th from 20th Century Fox. Are you going to go check it out in the theaters? I'm going to go check it out. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a busy time for me.
This will be
coming out in the summer, but I will definitely try to watch it at some
This is a good movie for the theaters with all the visuals and the big
Hopefully.
scope. And also it's from Gareth Edwards, it said, who directed Rogue One, mostly.
Which was fabulous.
Let us know your... yeah, I enjoyed that one. Let us know your thoughts about The Creator movie coming out in September. Are you looking forward to it or not? Let us know. Moving on to our next trailer, we got... A Haunting in Venice, also from 20th Century Studios. Are you looking forward to this?
I don't know. It's like trying to make Pierrot into Scooby-Doo or something.
I did get some Scooby-Doo vibes.
It's a bit much for this. That's not normally what like the books are about. It's about the mystery and his personality. I don't know. It seems to be pretty. I don't know. They're making a lot of special effects and stuff like that, and that's not what it's about normally.
Well, I didn't see a lot of, visual effects or anything.
Ghosts and things and stuff are not normally a part of.
So it didn't give me funny, wacky Scooby-Doo vibes,
No,
but the
not
stuff
wacky.
That's going on, it's like, oh, we shine a flashlight with this image, and there's a ghost, very basic effects that really don't work. In which case, that's where you get the Scooby-Doo wackiness.
Well,
This one the first trailer, maybe it was just a teaser that came out, didn't interest me at all. This one was a full trailer, and it definitely got me excited about it, because they're going to this seance, it looks like. Who's his female friend that's with him?
I don't know. I don't know who she's representing. I don't know if it's his writer friend or who. I don't know, because she looked kind of young.
All right.
I don't know who she's supposed to be.
So he's going to this seance, and they're going to disprove it, and Michelle Yeoh is there because this is a star-studded cast.
I don't know if that's even the premise, if they're going...
And they're going to look at that, but then, weird things start happening in this house, and it looks as if there's more than one session of the seance, because some of the characters have different outfits on at different times when you see them in the seance, so I think there's more than one. And so there's all these ghost tricks and everything.
Like show-offy for a hero. Anyway,
but,
I don't know.
But it also shows, apparently there's a murder that happens. So then they all have to be locked in the house, and Perot won't let them leave. Although, if he has to solve a murder, how's he going to stop them from leaving? I mean, they can just go and unlock the door as soon as he moves.
it seems really fantastical for a Puro type. Like, it doesn't seem the right style, but I haven't read this Halloween novel that she wrote. Apparently, it's based on the novel Halloween. I haven't read it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it does go there, but I know I've read many of her books, and none of them have gone in this
Agatha
way.
Christie wrote a novel called Halloween.
So they said that it's supposed to be based on a Halloween, the one called Halloween.
The Halloween with Michael Myers.
No, wrote a book called Halloween, or it's a Halloween, and it's a Puro mystery, and I haven't read that one.
And
it's never come up in one of my. I don't know. It's not that popular.
So you haven't read any books with Michael Myers in them.
You're not getting it. This is.
I don't think you're getting
Halloween
it.
has existed before Michael Myers came around. Anyway, it seems very fantastical for Agatha Christie. I don't know.
I think you're right. It does seem a bit flashy. It could just be the trailer and just the way they cut the trailer and made it look. And also there could be extra scenes that they put in the trailer that then aren't in the movie, because that happens now. However, and if they're trying to make it more showy, I think that's to get more people to come to try and get younger audiences, because who's going to see Agatha Christie movies, right? Seniors mostly. And I don't know if the last two made a lot of money. Clearly they made money because they keep making them. And as long as they keep the budgets down and they're making a decent amount of money, they'll keep making them, right?
Well, we don't have the show anymore, so it's the only source
if
for
these
people to watch.
If these movies are made for, I don't know, 50 million, okay, and they're able to crack over 200 million worldwide, that might be a decent return on investment for them to do more. I don't know. I haven't looked up the budget on these things, but this trailer got me more excited. So before my opinion was, yeah, I'm going to go see it, but I don't expect much from it. This one, actually, my hopes are up now, okay? Now I'm thinking it could actually be pretty good, but we'll see. Any final thoughts on that?
I don't know. It just doesn't seem to be the right way to do one of her stories.
So
anyway,
are you going to go see this when it opens, or wait for me to tell you if it's good or not? Or just not at all? You're not interested?
Well, if I can, it's just at a really busy time. I'll try to see it, but I feel it's a little bit disrespectful almost. It's completely taking a character and turning things around. It's not normally how she would write something. Anyway, that's just my thoughts. So
trying something new. I mean, Agatha Christie's style doesn't really hold up that well today.
It's using her characters and it's based on her material, though.
Yeah, and if they own the rights, the studio, 20th Century Studios, if they own the rights, then they're allowed to do different interpretations of it.
The thing is, there's a reason why people like her stuff. It's not because of this flashy ghost BS.
Well, maybe.
That's the issue, I suppose. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm kind of doubtful of it.
I'm gonna see this and report back. Let everyone know if it was good or not, if I enjoyed it. I mean, you can always disagree with me, and that's perfectly fine. Let us know if you disagree and why. Always want to hear different viewpoints there. So are you excited to go see A Haunting in Venice? I'm going to go check it out. Christine, not so much, but if it's good, who knows? Let us know down in the comments below if you think this is going to be good or not. Have you seen the other two? What was it? There was Murder on the Orient Express and then Death on a Nile.
I've read those.
I should watch that Death on a Nile movie again.
I've read those.
I thought it was alright. You didn't like it as much, but I think it's because you're biased against Gal Gadot. Whereas if that movie had, what's his name? Jared Leto, I'd be right there with you. I'd be like, I ain't watching that again. Jared Leto. Okay, next one is the big trailer we got is for The Marvels, which they pushed back to November. Supposed to come out this month. It's supposed to come out in July, and then they pushed it back November 10th.
I wonder how it's gonna go. It seems like it's before Secret Invasion. Maybe
No,
that's why.
I don't know, because if it's after, then they just spoiled that Nick Fury lives through Secret Invasion.
That's what I mean.
So
it's supposed to be after. It's coming out after Secret Invasion. So that's the thing. It's kind of silly.
Maybe it was supposed to come out in July so that when Secret Invasion wraps up next week, okay, this coming Wednesday, then The Marvels was going to come out and be a direct continuation. They just spoiled that on themselves.
It would make more sense to
nice
come out
catch
before.
there.
Well, I was trying to figure out what is it. seems like it's before Secret Invasion because he's on the base and everything. It does seem that way. Anyway, I don't know. I like the characters, but I don't really trust them anymore. So
Okay.
I don't know what we're gonna get.
Maybe I'm just a sucker for the marketing, but I was totally in on this trailer. We see that Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, gets a different costume. She's in a different costume
I
in
don't
the
care
end.
about that.
Now, everyone wants to see Captain Marvel's 90s costume. I don't think they'll ever do it.
I don't want to see any of that.
You
That
know what the
doesn't-
90s costume is?
No, but none of that is important. That's what the story is, and we get to see the Flurkin do its Flurkinness. So that looks interesting, but they did give it away in the trailer.
But we saw Goose, the cat, in the Flurkin, and we
Yeah.
saw him in the first Captain Marvel.
I know. We know there's gonna be maybe a few Flurkins
Mm-hmm.
in it, so that's really got me interested. But at this point, I kind of don't trust them anymore.
What
They made
about
some crappy material. I don't know if it's gonna be good. It could be fabulous. It could be terrible. Really, I really don't know.
what about the other Captain Marvel? I think they're calling her Spectrum, from WandaVision. There, she's
I don't know.
Monica Rambeau.
I don't know. I just have no idea what it's gonna be like.
Oh, here we go. Here's Captain Marvel's costume in the 90s. There.
Showing too much skin.
Yeah, it's pretty much just like a black bathing suit with thigh-high boots and really long gloves, and then
You
a
wear
sash
that in space.
and a
That
domino
makes
mask.
A lot of sense. Anyway,
Why wouldn't you
I
wear
don't-
that in space?
I don't care about the costume. I just want the story to be alright. But I did question that when I saw Nick Fury in the trailer big time. Like, well, is it supposed to be before or after? That's
Okay.
what came into
Here's
my
another
mind.
look at that costume.
Oh, jeez.
So that's why everyone wants to see 90s costume.
I don't. Anyway, I don't know.
Are you excited to see Kamala Khan again?
Well, as long as the writing is good, it'll be fine. It could be fabulous, or it could be terrible. I really got no sense. All I want to see is Flurkins.
Did you enjoy the Ms. Marvel series?
I did. I didn't think it was absolutely fantastic, though.
I did really enjoy that her and her family.
Yeah,
that
I
was
did
great.
like it still, but I don't know.
We should rewatch WandaVision and Ms. Marvel before we go see that movie.
I like WandaVision, but more than that show.
I
But
think we'll pick up on more stuff that we'll
maybe.
like if
I
we
don't
rewatch
know.
them.
We'll have to see if. I just don't trust them at this point. They've had some bad material. They've had some good material. I can't really predict if it's going to be one way or the other. But I think the casting is appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing I do think is all right. But you just can't tell anymore. That's all I can say.
Okay. Well, I'm on board for this. I didn't think the Ms. Marvel Disney Plus series was the most amazing thing ever, but I had
No.
fun with it. It could have used some improvement. It might have been better actually as a movie instead of stretched out. The villains were kind of forgettable, even though the Jinn, which were and one of them was played by that really famous Indian actress there, who we just saw in Polite Society,
Yeah, I was thinking of Polite
which no one went to
Society.
go see, but that was an
Yeah.
alright movie.
I mean, I don't know.
I'm gonna rewatch the
Let's
Ms.
see.
Marvel series definitely, and probably WandaVision, because Monica Rambeau, we don't really know much about her. Carol Danvers, we know a bit about her, but I don't find her the most interesting character. She seems a bit overpowered.
Well, she has so much power, so it doesn't make her
I
very
think
interesting. She's very super powered. So
I think I
that's
know
not
what
that
the
interesting.
bands are, because there's two bands.
The rest, that's the whole thing with the girl.
Yeah,
That's-
except she's also a mutant, which we learned in Ms. Marvel series.
Which one's a mutant? The
Ms.
girl?
Marvel, Kamala Khan.
Oh, I didn't remember that. But her grandmother gave her the bangles or whatever.
Yeah, but there's also another one in space apparently.
Oh.
So those are I think I'll look it up, but
Look
they're
out,
very
ladies.
very
Don't wear your
interesting
grandmother's
bands that another
bangles.
hero uses.
You don't know
in
what
the
could be
comics
lurking
there.
in your grandmother's old jewelry
I'm
drawer.
definitely looking forward to the Marvels movie coming out in November. So I'm going to see it opening day. Are you coming for that?
I probably won't be able to because I have so many responsibilities. But
Are you going to go see this when it opens up, or wait to hear back from me?
I'll try to go see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you going to go see the Marvels as soon as it opens up? Hopefully they took some time with the delay and they're making it better. Hopefully they're making better movies there. Because Quantumania was, whoa.
Yeah, I wasn't.
Just missing a lot of fun, and also you don't care about any of them. Anyway, Marvels is going to be great. Guardians 3 was great. So let us know what you think about the upcoming The Marvels movie. Are you going to see it? Are you a big fan of this? Which one are you looking forward to the most there? Is it Captain Marvel, Spectrum, or what was her name? Photon? Let me know down in the comments below what Monica Rambeau's superhero name is. She was a Captain Marvel in the 80s, but now they call her something else. Or you look forward to Ms. Marvel, which is an insanely popular character. Let us know down in the comments below. You can always give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed our trailer reaction / review. Okay, next we got... Let's go into our next review. That is Barbie, which we just saw.
Yeah.
And just came out for this weekend. Came out from Warner Brothers. It's just under 2 hours. I'm going to look it up on IMDb. On Rotten Tomatoes here. But what's your first impressions of this movie?
I did like it. It was funny. It had fun parts to it. I think that the ending was a bit, not the very last scene, but it's a little bit inconclusive with the, I don't know. I guess we have to spoil it, I guess.
No, we're not going to spoil it right now, but we can if you want to later.
Well, I just was going to say the ending was a bit, like what happened with the characters was a bit...
It was a bit off. Okay,
I don't know.
Okay, so overall, you said you liked it, but it doesn't sound like you love it. It currently has a 90% certified fresh critic rating and an 89% audience score. So, and that's probably going to go down as more reviews come in, but that's still quite high.
I think it was better than that. I'd say I'd give it a higher score than I give it like a 92, 93, but I just thought the ending, like where it went with all of it, I didn't really get where it went at the end.
Yeah, there was a couple of moments for me that didn't work. Overall, I posted a spoiler-free reaction video of the theater reaction on my channel there last night that people could check out. I had a fun time with this movie. It's unfortunately some of the jokes were spoiled from the teaser and the trailer. That first teaser we got.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's in the movie, except it's extended, but unfortunately that whole thing is in the movie if you saw the teaser. If not, I'm not going to say what it is, so yeah, you're not spoiled.
And part of the story was not in the trailers, so that was also nice to see.
Yeah. There was a lot of people guessing about what this movie was going to be, but that's what the cast had been saying for... Well, before the SAG strike, which is still ongoing right now, they were saying that people haven't guessed what it really is about. It's a fun story,
which was good.
It is a fun story. It's a story that we have seen other iterations of before. However, I really enjoyed this. I mean, the Barbie land that you see in the trailers, it was great. I mean, they must have been having such a fun time on those sets.
A fun time.
Ryan Gosling is quite hilarious in this.
He's kind of dressed like Simon Le Bon or something from the 80s.
Simu Liu, who plays another Ken, he's also quite funny. But he doesn't have as much to do. Alan.
I like Alan.
Is played by Michael Cera. He's really funny as well. But I mean, Margot Robbie is pretty good. America Ferrera's character, she's in this.
That's a spoiler.
No, she's in the trailer.
Well, you don't really get what she's doing.
Her character isn't in it as much. Her character's not given as much to do. But for what she is in it, she's very, how should I put this, charming.
That also part was lacking for me.
That she wasn't in it enough?
Yeah. The relationships there were a bit, I think they could have done a lot more with that and just stop having so many Kens everywhere. What was
her character's name in Superstore? Because that's where I mostly know her from. Amy? Yeah. You want to see more Amy from Superstore in this?
I just needed more going on with her and her family, we'll say. And because that's sort of what some of it was about. But instead we just got tons of Ken stuff a lot. And I think they could have worked more going on there. instead of the weird. There's some weird stuff in there.
Yeah.
At the
So
end.
as we've seen from the trailers, there is, it's not all of it, but there is a bit of singing and dancing, and that was actually quite fun.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Okay, especially the first song that they sang.
It was fun. It was fun. I thought it was a good attempt. There was a little bit of issue there.
Yeah. So I don't want to give anything away. I had a fun time. In fact, this is probably the funniest movie I've seen this year so far.
Mm-hmm.
Kate McKinnon's character, well, I don't really find her that much fun. Issa Rae, she was good in it, the very little she was in it, but Issa Rae is in so much stuff lately. She was just one of the Spider Women in Across the Spider-Verse.
She was an important character, but not in it a lot. But I did find Kate McKinnon too. I didn't like the humor there. I just found it too much in your face, and it could have been. I didn't think it was that funny. That was maybe not her fault. Maybe the directing.
Okay, this is on the cast list, so I'm not going to spoil it. But you know who we get in this that I was surprised to see? It was Gravik. So there's Skrulls in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Gravik shows up as another Ken. Yeah. I'm like, whoa, very different from the other character we're seeing in play. So
yes.
we'll do a spoiler thing afterwards. But what kind of rating would you give this?
I give it
best
like
worst.
A 92.
92. I give it a best movie ever.
I thought it was really doing some interesting things. I just felt it kind of couldn't all sum it together right at the end.
Okay, this is not just a movie that's for women, although the theater that we were in was like 98% women, and lots of pink, lots of wearing pink and lots of dresses.
I should have wearing some pink. I was wearing blue.
Some women showed up in pink dress pantsuits. And
people were dressed up as their Barbie outfits. Guys too. Everyone was.
Yeah, there was some guys there.
Yeah,
that wasn't me. I was just the one random guy. I'm just I'm here. Take the wife to see Barbie. Okay, but
it was hot out. I wasn't in the mood to cheat. I never even thought about it. But people were dressed up.
If any guys end up in that position where you end up having to take your wife to see this movie, it's still a really fun time, and you're gonna have a good time. I give it a best movie ever.
Shirt, and some guys had like pink headbands on, and there was girls with big bangles. It was fun.
Let us know what you think about the new Barbie movie. If you saw it, what did you like about it? What did you not like about it? Even if your opinion's different from ours, let us know what's going on. We're not going to give anyone a hard time. We just like to hear different perspectives. And now we're going to go into Barbie, and we're going to talk in spoilers. So I'm going to put the warning up. And it's also in the title of this video. So if you watch this and you haven't seen this movie and you're spoiled, that's on you, okay? Also, if anyone enjoys this video, give us a thumbs up, We would appreciate it. Fluffy Kitty here would appreciate it. And you know who would appreciate? The Fawns. Okay. So, let's spoil this. What kind of stuff do you want to talk about in spoilers for Barbie?
I thought it was going around really good. I thought it was kind of going to be like there were some couple of really good Toy Story movies, and I was thinking that it's going to be really, but that it was going along really well and had funny parts in it and funny story, an interesting set, but then at the end it had parts that I did not.
Okay, we're spoiling. You're being very vague here. So John Cena here appears in his 2 cameos, and it's all just laughs, right?
Important.
Michael Cera playing Alan, and he's just kind of. Did anyone know about that?
No, these
dolls are like from the 40s or something?
I could only get dolls. We only had the mainstream ones. I never saw. I know there was a Skipper. And I don't know. But all our Barbies were just blonde bimbo Barbies. That's the only kind I could ever get.
Rhea Perlman, who plays the creator Ruth, she seemed to fit into that role very well. Although I didn't buy her as... you know what? I'm guessing the old lady at the bus stop. I'm guessing she was someone important.
I don't know.
Maybe she was the creator.
I don't know if she's passed away now. I don't know anything about it. But I didn't like the scene at the end where she's walking in the void with Barbie. I thought that was just very confusing, and it didn't really go anywhere. Yeah, I thought it was way too convoluted. And I thought Will Ferrell was funny, but in the end, that character, they didn't make sense either.
They didn't really do anything.
What was their mandate? Their mandate at first was to keep the line, right? To keep people in line, but then in the end they just dissolved into nothing, and they had no real mandate. And I didn't.
I like
think
that they
wasn't
tried
good.
to put her in a box, in a giant Barbie box.
But the whole story behind what she was doing and how she was affecting things, it got all convoluted at the end.
Will Ferrell, and they're not the board, all the executives there.
Yeah.
I think they are just there to show that men are in control in this world, because it's all men, and it's a Mattel, right?
But they also were like, we need to keep it this way. But then at the end, they were just wiggly piggly at the end. They didn't really stand for anything. And they did provide some comic relief, though. But then their purpose was kind of like, at the end, they didn't resolve anything. I don't know. And I thought that the other really part that they really let down, instead of putting all this other kind of jokes and stuff in, the relationship between America Ferrera and her daughter, Barbie, was hardly even there. I think that was a real letdown. The whole thing was that the mom was sad because of the daughter, and then all of a sudden the daughter's pleasant and dressing up. That wouldn't really happen. We don't really understand what happens between them. It wasn't well done. That was a disappointing thing. That was where the movie was supposed to go. It was about Barbie and her owner and the daughter, and that's what the movie was all about. Yeah. But that was just completely America Ferrera
isn't in it that much.
It was kind of ignored.
She's kind of she's a secondary character.
Yeah, but
and they didn't go into that much. And at one point, I think near the end of the second act, America Ferrera gets really preachy, and I didn't really enjoy that. I was like, okay, they've been making jokes about this, and like the jokes about Barbie saying how women run everything and that everything's perfect for them because she solved everything. And all the women in the audience are just laughing, right?
Instead of the tender moment with Barbie and Rhea Perlman, they needed the tender moment with Barbie and the mom and her daughter, instead of this preachy, like complaining type of thing.
Because you want you want to care about the mom and her daughter.
You don't. They're unnecessary.
Do we care about stereotypical Barbie?
Well, she is the main character, but then in the end, like, there's no resolution there. Is she living with them in the end? That would make sense.
Okay.
Like,
going back to Will Ferrell and his crony of executives, get this, I just looked it up on the Mattel corporate website. They got 10 people on their executive.
Right.
Guess how many of them are women of the 10?
1.
Nope.
Oh.
3 of the 10.
Well,
so
they
30%.
they had a woman before, and then she left, and they had another woman at some other time.
Okay.
Anyway, I just think it didn't hit a home run at the end. I think there was missing parts. It was really going somewhere great, and then it just sort of tanked. Although the last scene was hilarious.
Mattel might want to try and get some more.
They were on to this. I mean, they were
apparently
part of it.
They came out in the news that they're in the process of developing something like 60 of their toy brands into movies. It was some crazy number.
Well, it was fun.
And everyone at the time was saying, hey guys, just make one good movie first, and then you can start planning for more.
With the Marvel universe. This is the Mattel universe.
Because, I mean,
the Marvel
it's
universe.
Mattel. They got other toys. I mean, Hasbro's making stuff, too. I mean, with their...
Well, Barbie is pretty
Is
iconic.
Mattel Masters of the Universe? I have no idea.
We've already got, like, Transformers movies.
That's Hasbro.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, they're going to be developing a Hot Wheels movie. They're even developing an Uno movie for some reason. What the... Okay.
Maybe we'll finally learn the rules properly. Anyway, the Barbie movie was really going somewhere and trying to make a statement, and then it just sort of flopped and mushed about.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy the ending.
But
I mean, there was a funny end scene, but the climax, I guess, of the movie was kind of... I'm sitting there like...
Didn't resolve itself properly. There was no resolution, really.
But the rest of the movie was a really fun time.
Yeah.
And when we saw this opening on preview night, it was packed.
People loved it. They
were
laughing when it wasn't funny. I think they might have been.
You made a comment that probably. Why wouldn't you? It was a whole bunch of women.
Some people were just laughing for no reason.
It was a whole bunch of women getting together with their girlfriends and of all different ages.
There was
and then
some
there
young
was
girls.
then
there
there was moms with
it's
kids
too over their head.
with their daughters and with their friends.
There's a tiny bit of swearing, I guess. I don't know. Is there actual swear or just beeped out words? But they're talking about female anatomy and male anatomy and
this
stuff.
This movie is rated. It's. I don't think it's bad. It's PG-13. So
yeah, it's not. They had some little girls there. I don't think.
Hey,
it's a bit over their
it's
head.
their choice, right? I'm not judging anyone. I don't care. As long as you're quiet when I'm watching the movie, I'm not going to judge you.
It talks about genitalia. I guess this is...
Sure, PG-13, so what? I mean, anyway. PG-13, you're allowed to have like 1 or 2 swears. You're allowed to have 1 F-bomb.
There is a fight in it. And it goes to like a beat, like West Side Story at some point.
For me, the best stuff in this was with Ken. All of his jokes.
It was a lot about Ken.
Insecurity and Ryan Gosling singing about how tough it is to be Ken. That's the Ken song he was singing. And his job is beach.
Yeah.
Okay?
I'd like to get that.
I mean, we saw in the trailer how he mouths off to the doctor in the hospital, and seeing it again, this is great.
Well, because we get more why he's doing that. But the other thing, we never do see where the poor Kens live.
But then they learn about patronage. No. Yeah, they don't. They just have to go off.
The patriarchy. They don't even know what it's called.
Sorry,
yeah,
the patriarchy. And how they're obsessed with the patriarchy and horses.
He thought it had to do with horses, so he was right into it. There's horses everywhere.
And there's times later on when they show the Barbie house, every single screen has horses on it. Every single TV screen
the Ken stuff,
has
there
lots
was
of
a
horses
lot of
on
Ken
it.
stuff. It should be called Barbie and Ken. There's a lot of Ken in this movie. A lot of Ken stuff. And I think Ken resolved his issues.
Well, they're both on the poster.
Barbie doesn't really... I don't know. It doesn't resolve that. Ken's issues are resolved. Yeah. But we still never see... I want to see where they live. That would have been hilarious.
They don't. They get just thrown in a trunk or a toy chest when you're not playing with them.
We should have seen their hovel where they lived.
There's no Ken's...
Maybe they just be all piled up somewhere.
Mojo, Domo, Casa.
Dojo, Casa.
Something or other. It's all just these versions of house.
Dojo, Casa, home or something. I can't remember.
Mojo, Dojo, Casa, house.
That's what it was.
Something like that.
Anyway.
Which all just mean house except for Mojo.
And I think they should have taken a little bit down from that, like the fight and stuff, and maybe made it smaller to actually get into the relationships with the women in this. That's what it was supposed to be about.
My only real complaints about this is the time that America Ferrera got preachy, and then the weird existential ending that who cares? That was the only times I didn't enjoy it. The rest was, I mean, I could say they could throw more humor in it, but there was a lot of humor and it was fun. Humor.
It's just kind of
This is great for all audiences. So maybe
13, not as much.
Yeah. I mean, teenage boys or younger than that probably wouldn't enjoy it as much because it's Barbie. But this was a fun time for
about a lot of things
for adults of any age.
Kids wouldn't get.
Yeah, definitely. Really but it's operating on 2 different levels, just like The Simpsons or Family Guy does. They'll make a joke that the kids will laugh at, but they're not getting the real point, and we get it. And...
I don't think so. It's not like that. It's not really a kids movie in my mind at all.
Okay.
Anyway.
I had a great time. We both gave it great ratings. Let us know what you think of Barbies down in the comments below if you watched the spoiler section that we did. Moving on to our next review. Secret Invasion. So we should have led with that because we go from high energy and we're back to Secret Invasion. So episode 5, they only got 1 more to go. And we got another death in this episode. Is it a fake death or...
Who died now? I don't even remember.
Talos.
Oh, well, he kind of died
at the end of the last episode, but they confirmed it now because he got shot in the shoulder. Then he got stabbed, so...
I think he
got shot and stabbed. Is it another fake death, or are they going to bring him back with extremis or something else?
A lot of it didn't make sense. Why were the bad guys rebelling against Gravik now? They don't really have a reasoning. I didn't think the reasoning was sound. Doesn't make much sense. Why does Gaia go to a place where she knows they're going to be there when the whole thing that she has the upper hand on them is the fact that they think she's dead?
Yeah, why would she
go there to the house where she knows they're coming, and why that was really strange. That's stupid that the wife was going to stay there. She was going to get killed, and it's only because Gaia was with her that she was able to not get killed. That didn't make any sense at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm just kind of done. I just think this is not written right.
You gonna tap out?
I'll finish watching it, but I just think it's got really dumb things going on in it that don't make a lot of sense.
You could tap out and then just read the synopsis afterwards.
I only got one episode now. I'll finish watching it, at least to try to figure out where they were going with it. But it's got dumb things in it.
Yeah. It's
really
not the best writing. I learned something interesting from another podcast this week about it. Yeah. The lady who plays Nick Fury's wife.
I mean, the whole thing with
the actor?
her and Gaia was just, I don't know what they were going for there.
Okay, so you know his wife, who is just staying there to die, right?
Maybe, maybe not.
That actress, what is her name? I'm looking it up right now. If I can, she's not on this cast list. Of course not.
Not on the cast list?
Not
a big character.
Not in.
They gotta have a bunch of white men there anyway. One
anyway,
white guy
that's
was
the
in
same,
it for 2 minutes. He gets on the.
That's
on
the same
website.
Actress who played Samuel L. Jackson's mother in the Unbreakable and Mr. Glass movies.
Oh, okay.
Same actress. Now, we already got Maria Hill, who's dead, which that was a crappy death for that character. Now we got a little bit better, but it's a crappy death for Ben Mendelsohn's character, Talos. Not that I liked the
really
Skrulls before anyway.
That whole thing didn't make much sense. We know that Rhodey wanted Maria Hill's body.
Okay, Don Cheadle as Rhodey looks like he's having really fun on the set. Not the most fun, but he's having a really fun time because he's playing the bad guy and he's just hamming it up as much as he can. He's just playing as bad as he can because actors like doing that, you know?
Their decisions don't make a lot of sense.
Now, the person who's having the most fun on set is definitely Olivia Colman. Except for that time they made her crawl through that tunnel. Yeah. You know, I can't believe they did that. They're like, Olivia Colman, get in that hole in the floor, you know? And crawl through that tunnel. We don't care that you're pushing 50. Get in there and do it. This is what the fans want to see.
Really interesting.
I can't believe they made her do that.
She's a really interesting character in the whole thing. I don't like any of the characters.
She has such a sparkling personality in this.
But nobody else has anything good.
It's the British accent again.
It's not that.
It's because she has that British accent, so you're just captivated by everything she says.
I don't like Gaia. She doesn't make sense. I don't like her father. He died for no reason. Fury is just talking to people back and forth and arguing with them, and it's
Fury doesn't seem very smart in this.
It's not very good. They keep on saying he's not the same, you know. He's I don't know. It's just blurry.
Yeah.
And why they want to kill? They did want to kill the president now. Well, they didn't do a very good job. All they had to do was like poison him or something. Was it
this episode 5, where Olivia Colman goes and shoots the guy in the leg, and then it exposes his hand that he's a Skrull? Yeah, it's her boss. So she exposed her boss as the old Nick Fury. What Nick Fury should have done, same we said, shot Don Cheadle. He's a Skrull. Okay, where's the real Don Cheadle?
Where's story makes much sense.
Where's Rhodey? Hope Don Cheadle's okay.
None of the story makes much sense. The motivations of the characters seem off. It just I'll just wait in my house to die. But yet when they do arrive, oh thank goodness this other person's here with me so we can shoot them.
This goes back to my point of I don't understand why Marvel is releasing this. Now, maybe they wanted to, as we were saying in the trailer section, that the Marvels was supposed to come out in July. So now that we got this coming out and we haven't got the final episode yet, but we're going to assume the Marvels is after Secret Invasion when it comes out in November, and we see Nick Fury in that new trailer. So does that mean they just spoiled it and we know Nick Fury lives through Secret Invasion? I mean, okay. Not the smartest move there.
Maybe it's not Nick Fury. Maybe it's not a Skrull pretending to be him.
It was always Talos who was pretending to be Nick Fury.
And he's dead now?
And he's dead because he got stabbed. His death was a little bit better than Maria Hill's, but not much better.
It just seems weird. And why the people are rebelling against Gravik doesn't make sense. Why they're rebelling now and not before.
Which goes back to my point. If Disney and Marvel Studios know that this wasn't very good, because I highly doubt it's going to suddenly be amazing in the final episode, even if the final episode is really good, we still have to sit through these 5 episodes that ain't that great.
Doesn't make sense, and people's motivations doesn't make sense, and
this is really typical of the Disney Plus series.
Not that good.
These 6 episodes that are varying length. Some are like only 35 minutes long or 33 minutes long, which aren't very good. So I still think they stretched it. They took a movie and stretched it out and padded it out to make it these 6 episodes, because all of them were 6 episodes. But why would they release this? I mean, sit on it for a while, release it in October, make it better, do something. I mean, all they're doing is kind of devaluing their own brand, just like DC when they come out with a bad movie, and then people give up on them, and then when they come out with one that's good or fun, people don't go see it, right?
Yeah, it's just... Ugh. Anyway, I'll finish watching it, but I'm not that happy with it. I thought it was going to be really good, and it's not.
This one's not really working for me either. No. And that's the problem, because I'm in the bag for this. Because this is my thing. This is one of my things, so even if it's crap, I'm going to watch it. I might not like it, but I'm going to watch it. When you're making a franchise like this that has been around for decades and is beloved, the people that are the hardcore fans, you already got them showing up anyway, right? Even if we have to suffer through it. And the people who love it, they should love this stuff that you're putting out. But they don't. It divides people, and they're like... So this series has like some of the lowest viewership of any of the Disney Plus series, or the Marvel stuff, I'm guessing. And then you got everyone else that they don't care about the MCU or superheroes. If it's a fun movie, it's a good movie, right? But if you're releasing this kind of crap, then it makes everything look bad, and people start talking about superhero fatigue, which isn't a... I don't believe that's a thing.
I have it.
No.
It exists.
I'm going to counter that and say what you're sick of is the same thing I'm sick of, is seeing these mediocrity productions, okay? This mediocre stuff, whether it be the Disney Plus series or the movies. And if we get good stuff, like Guardians 3, it's great and everyone goes to see it. But if you keep releasing crap, you're going to get less people, because if they have to sit through the crap, they're not going to go and pay to see Guardians Volume 3, which was amazing.
I'm almost to the point, really, unless it's a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, I don't want to even watch it. I'm getting so fatigued.
Yeah. Well, okay. What was the last Marvel movie that you enjoyed other than Guardians? You really like Shang-Chi. Come on, that one was great. It. Okay.
But I just thought, but I don't know.
Okay, so Quantumania you didn't really enjoy. What else we got? Black Panther Wakanda Forever?
I liked the Wakanda one.
It was okay? Or was it great?
I liked that one. I liked it.
Thor Love and Thunder?
I liked the Thor ones.
Shang-Chi?
It was okay.
Spider-Man No Way Home?
Which one is that one?
That's the one where all the villains in all 3 Spider-Men?
Yeah, that was cute.
You like that one? Doctor Strange was in it too. The Eternals? I know that one's one of your favorites there. What else do we got there? Black Widow?
It was alright, but I think it could have been better.
Oh, I missed one. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
It was okay. But really, all these movies, are they really showing me something interesting? Or no, not really. I like the Guardians one, but most of them are forgettable. But you have to remember the story. You won't know what's happening.
You know what?
WandaVision was good. But a lot of those ones...
Those Disney Plus series?
The WandaVision was good. But I'm talking but if you go to those ones with, what's his name, with the big thing, the gauntlet on, oh my gosh.
Thanos?
Ugh. Those ones are not very good, and that's what this whole thing is based on.
Those were the Avengers movies there.
I don't
Infinity
like
War and
ones.
Endgame.
Yeah,
those were like their last big hits.
I don't like those.
Okay.
Anyway.
So, I'm going to do a segment next time we record, talking about all the stuff that has come out since they ended that phase, since Avengers Endgame. Infinity War and Endgame. So all the Phase 4 stuff when they started their multiverse saga. I'm going to talk a little bit about that next time we record. But overall, can't say I'm really enjoying Secret Invasion. I hope this last episode is really amazing, but even then, it's not going to get the best rating from me, because I have to sit through these other 5 episodes that...
You know what?
None of them are really great.
You know what it seems like? It just seems like fan fiction, not based on canon or anything. That's what it seems like. It doesn't seem like the story makes sense. It's just...
To me, it's just they're pumping out too much stuff, and it's quantity over quality. As soon as they scale it back and start putting less things out and taking their time and making it good, they're gonna see their box office and their revenue increase. And I don't think they, as I mentioned before, I don't think they should do the Disney Plus series. Do the one shots and the specials, no problem. But the series, no, keep it up on the big screen.
Make sure to bring back Trevor Flaherty at all times.
Actually, you know what? Here's what I want. Used to be that so we're done talking about Secret Invasion. I'll go into this point in just a second. What are your thoughts on Secret Invasion? Let us know down below. Maybe if you're loving it, let us know you're loving it. We're not, each to their own. Like whatever you like. We're not going to give you a hard time. I'm jealous, actually, because I want to love it too. Let us know your comments down below. So, what was I going to say? It used to be with the Marvel one-shots, when a movie came out, you only got the Marvel one-shot if you bought the physical media, which I always did.
Okay,
so it was on the physical media, whether it was the DVD or the Blu-ray at the time, because they didn't have 4K. But now, if there's anything like that, they would just release that onto YouTube. So what they could do, be a smart idea, is bring back the one-shots, because people really enjoyed those, right? And they're short, like the Trevor Flaherty one. That was hilarious.
That was one of the best things I ever saw.
What was it? All Hail the King. Yeah. And they even got Sam Rockwell back in that. It was so funny.
That I ever saw.
So my idea is bring that back, put them on the physical media, but if you want to stream them and watch them, have it only on Disney Plus. So if it's not on YouTube, then you actually have to subscribe to Disney Plus to see it or buy the physical media.
I just want good, smart things like that. But really, I don't know. It's just we're saturated with content. Anyway.
Yeah, we are getting a lot of superhero stuff. Also, we're getting a lot of DC stuff because they're pumping out all the stuff from the previous regime so that they can reboot and start over.
Right.
They're just releasing the last couple now.
And the problem with superhero movies is the problem when the movie starts is that the superhero does not die. And that's a problem right in the beginning. You know the superhero's they're not going to die.
We just watched one where the superhero died.
Can't be that exciting.
But they brought him back like 2 minutes later.
Like it can't be that. I mean, the stakes aren't high enough. I guess that's always an issue.
How about
with
Tony
these
Stark?
Movies.
They killed him.
I didn't like him. Well, that was good because I didn't care for him. But it's just like
they killed off Agent Coulson in the Avengers. But they did bring him back for that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show, but I don't think that's in canon in the MCU.
There's some that have been really good that I have enjoyed, but for the most part, in a few years, I'll just forget them.
Black Widow's dead.
Was she? I don't even know. I didn't like what they did with her character.
Endgame. Okay. Then they brought her back for a prequel movie. Anyway, I'm going to talk about that later on. So let's move on then from that review. Talked a lot about Secret Invasion. Okay, The Lincoln Lawyer. You watched all of season 1 and how much of season 2?
Well, as much as there is. So what they've done, it's the same with The Witcher as well, and they did this with Stranger Things.
Is this a good show?
Yeah, it's a good show.
What kind of show is it?
But it's not a comedy.
Is it a drama?
Yeah, it's a drama show. It's a lawyer show. But it has more going on. It's not like LA Law. It's like LA Law, but there's a mystery. And it's just about one guy. The good things about it is that it has an interesting story and you want to know what's happening. In season 1 anyway. Season 2 is kind of, I don't know, the stakes don't seem to be that high in season 2 so far, but I have to wait a couple weeks to see what the story concluded of season 1.
There's only 5 episodes out, and then you're waiting on the next 5.
Yeah, that's how it's going.
Yeah, Netflix is doing a lot of that more. Maybe eventually they'll realize that the weekly model is better for building up hype and ratings.
But the stakes of season 2, they started out high, but then that's over with now. He has made an enemy.
What were the stakes? Was someone coming after Lincoln? Was someone coming after Lincoln?
It hasn't. No, it's nothing to do with Lincoln. He just has a Lincoln car. That's what it has.
So there's nothing to do with the U.S. President Lincoln.
No, nothing to do with that.
Doesn't mean a lot to us because we're in Canada, but
call him that. So
he's an important historical figure.
A lawyer whose dad was a really big, fancy lawyer. Mm-hmm. And so he's like wants to be like his dad, and he tries to copy his dad. His dad's passed away. His wife is also a lawyer, but they're divorced. Oh, he has 2 wives. One is like one of the district attorneys.
He's got 2 wives.
He's got 2 wives. The other one works for him, but she's engaged to this other fella. Anyway, he has a daughter, and I don't know, he sort of sees her sometimes. But the whole premise of this is that there's an old lawyer friend that he had, a friend of his father's, and that guy gets shot, like get murdered. And the next morning, it turns out that that old guy had, well, he's not that old, but he had basically signed his practice over to this fellow without even telling him. So all of a sudden,
is he investigating his friend's murder while he's a lawyer?
A little bit, yeah. Because
I don't think you're allowed to do that.
No, because he's got the cases now. He could be the one that gets murdered next, because they don't know why the guy was murdered, right?
Is only one person murdered, or more than one?
Well, one person's murdered, but he has to defend other people that the guy had that murdered people.
Is this first or second season?
This is the first season.
Okay, so and they resolve that at the end of the first season?
They do resolve it.
Okay, so
and I kind of thought that's.
Does he get murdered?
Well, no, he didn't get murdered because it's season 2.
So it's the same guy back. He didn't get murdered.
No,
Spoiler.
he didn't get murdered. However, the faults with this is that the character is too cool for school. He's rich. He's got a big rich house. He hasn't worked for a year, but
is he young?
Not that young. I don't know. He's not very young. He's not old.
Okay.
He's not like a young guy, but he's
got
a fancy house in LA. See, great view. It's expensive. He's got a lot of money. He's got all these Lincoln cars, right?
So hold on. His name is Manuel Garcia Rolfo. He's the Lincoln lawyer?
Yeah, that's
okay. He's 42.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not about age. Anyway, they're all rich people. We don't really see any suffering there, I guess. It's always like, and it's real comfortable that his daughter's not with him very much, so he gets to do all these things. When in real life, no, that's not how things go, right?
Where's his daughter?
With the mother when it's convenient. You see that TV stuff, TV kid, and the kid is always nice and polite and smart.
So he's just living the dream then.
There you go.
Doesn't have to deal with anything.
Too much, like, I just can't stand that, kind of thing. It's not a lot of real life. He does have fun fights. He wants to get back with his ex-wife, I guess.
Would you say this? So he's a lawyer, so he's not very down to earth. Then he's not Matlock.
No, it's not down to earth. He's very smooth. He's supposed to be really good, and he's perfect. Like, he's always he gets people off.
Okay, so this is a show for rich people then. Is that what you're saying?
It's kind of not
or people who want to watch the rich lifestyle? But the story is interesting, and what happens, and why the guy was murdered, and there's a lot of, like, red herrings. Okay.
In it.
So it's a mystery, too.
Yeah, it's a mystery.
Okay.
But they didn't go the extra mile. They made him really cool, all this kind of stuff. He's got a fancy house.
Okay, so the character's not relatable, and it's not really interesting because it's, this guy who's got all this money, you can't relate to his problems,
No.
He's complaining, he got a speeding ticket. Well, too bad you were driving like a douche,
And he says he has, like, addiction problems that they're not that present.
What, like a coke addiction?
No. The idea was that he got in a surfing accident the year before, and whatever happened, we don't really know, but he got addicted to, like, pain medication and so he hadn't worked for a year, and that's why this was such a surprise. He's finally back on his feet, and then he gets this big practice put on him.
So who's he helping out, or who's he trying to solve the case for the second season? Give us the spoiler until the end
season,
of the first half.
Is a douchebag guy who owns a gaming company. So that's also rich people and their problems. It's a little bit of that. And the second season, though, is about a woman that he meets. She's accused of murder. But she's too smooth, too. She's a bit too smooth. They're all too smooth. I don't like
So they're people that you want to see them convicted instead because they're just rich bastards?
Not that. They're just too... I don't know. They don't talk like real people. The only person that's a real person is his driver. She seems to be a real person. And but we don't see a lot of her life. She comes in and out of the series. But it's just these characters need to be a little bit more real.
So would you say these characters are phony?
It's not.
Because this is in Los Angeles. So
it just doesn't make you really like
maybe they
relate
act normal
to it
for.
enough. They could have had more realistic.
Okay.
It's not that
However,
realistic.
I'm not in LA because we're here in East Coast of Canada, but and I've never been to LA. But maybe there in LA, that's how people act. I don't know.
No,
Okay.
we're not getting.
If anyone here
Anyway.
is from California or LA or somewhere near there, and if this is how people act in this Lincoln Lawyer show, let us know down below because
he works a
interesting
lot, but yet
about
he
this.
gets to go on fancy dates. But he's supposed to be staying up all night doing cases. But I don't know. It's just.
This doesn't make me want to watch. This doesn't make me want to watch this show at all.
But it's interesting. The mystery part of it is interesting. The murder part of it is interesting.
Is this show trying to be Better Call Saul?
Oh God, this one is totally lacking. It's lacking everything that Better Call Saul.
But is it trying to be that?
No,
like
gosh, no. It's not trying to be that at all. But that's what is lacking. It's lacking
because that show was great.
The humanness of the people is what is lacking.
You know, we recently watched that last season of Better Call Saul.
It's all about the human.
And I might actually rewatch that whole series sometime. Because that was a really good series.
I sort of did rewatch it because I got so far and then we hadn't watched it for a while and I started again. But Better Call Saul, of course, is all about how this guy would react to things and just people with flaws. There's no flaws in
doesn't sound as if you're enjoying this show, Lincoln Lawyer.
am.
Are you going to watch the second part of the second season?
Yeah, I am, because I got to find out who did it. Okay. But I just find it's a little bit just so they're too cool and suave and everything's too perfect. That's all.
All right. Okay, that's Christine's thoughts. I haven't seen this, and based on what she just said, it doesn't sound like something I want to watch.
You wouldn't like it anyway. It's not your kind of thing.
Yeah, I guess
But I like crime, like trying to figure out who did it and that kind of thing, and there's good red herrings, so that's the part I enjoyed.
Well, that's her thoughts. Let us know what you think of The Lincoln Lawyer on Netflix. Are you caught up on season 2 right now? If you're not, what are you listening to this spoiler review for? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. We got a short piece of news. We got a new Futurama coming very soon.
No way.
Now, well, I knew about this last year, but I didn't know it was coming so soon.
Oh.
I saw an ad for it that's coming on Hulu, which we don't have in Canada, so it'll probably be through Stars on Disney+.
Yeah.
And we're getting it July 24th.
This month?
Yeah. Season 11.
I hope it's good. I hope it's like the other ones.
You know, some people say only the first 4 seasons were good, and then the stuff like the movies.
I never saw the movies, I don't think.
Yeah, we watched them.
Really?
They were made for TV movies. I still have all my DVDs of all this stuff and Blu-rays. And then they released new seasons on Comedy Central.
Maybe I haven't seen those ones.
And then it ended. So some people say only the first 4 seasons that were on Fox were good.
Those are the ones that I saw. I don't think I saw any since
then. But I disagree. I say that every season, there's good stuff in all of it.
I enjoy it a lot.
Oh yeah, it's one of my favorite shows, which is why I still have the DVDs, because it was only recently that we could watch them on Disney+. Before that, you couldn't watch them anywhere.
Oh, I didn't even know you could. Okay, I should watch them then.
Yeah, so that's coming back very soon. They did a teaser and there was a trailer, which I just saw today, so that's exciting news.
Yeah.
And definitely going to be reviewing that when it comes out.
Yeah.
I hope it'll be a weekly schedule instead of just dropping all the episodes at once, because
seems like I got some catching up to do. Then I'm gonna check that out. Then it's on Disney Plus now.
I think all of it is on Disney Plus now.
That's the problem with all the streaming. It's if you have a show that you really liked in the past, it's really hard to figure out where you might find it, and if you can't find it.
Yeah, a lot of times you can't find it, which is why I'm one of the reasons why I'm still a big lover of physical media, because they can take those things down at any time. If people aren't watching them, they take them down.
Yeah,
because it costs them money to have those up there. They have to pay residuals. So instead, they just take it down, and then you can't watch it anywhere unless you rent it or pay for it or buy the physical media. And I still have my original DVDs from early 2000s when they first released those first 4 seasons, and then I bought all the other stuff as it came out. So you're excited to see Futurama?
Yeah, I always liked it. I thought it was really funny. And
who's your favorite character?
Zoidberg.
Yeah, Zoidberg. Mine would probably be Bender, because he's so funny, but there's
it's a bit like the Doctor in Voyager, Bender.
I guess.
He is.
So I'm definitely looking forward to this. Is anyone else out there looking forward to new Futurama that we're getting? I mean, they've had such a tough run because they kept getting canceled all the
I
time.
remember I once found you the comic book series and I sent you those.
Yeah. I still have those.
They still have the comic book.
I don't know if that's still running or not.
Yeah.
But let us know down below in the comments if you're interested in seeing new Futurama. Apparently it's season 11. Not sure if that's correct, but sure. Anyway, let us know down below, please. Now we're going to go into our next review. Christine, you finished reviewing and watching the final season for Jack Ryan, season 4.
Yeah.
I haven't seen this, but tell us what did you like about Jack Ryan season 4? Was it a good one? This is the final season too.
It was a good one, and it kind of made sense because, of course, they only have like a few characters, right? And this stuff is international espionage and everything. So, but it made more sense. This one, I thought it was well put together. I'd say it was probably my second favorite season. The first season was my favorite one.
Mm-hmm.
So we see people back in this one. We have, of course, Jack Ryan. We have Greer. He plays a major role in this. We also have Kathy is back as his love interest.
Mm-hmm.
She plays a big role too. She's played by Abby Cornish, and James Greer is played by Wendell Pierce. And we also have Michael Kelly coming back. You would recognize him as Doug from that show that
House of Cards?
House of Cards, yeah.
He was also in Man of Steel, one of your favorite DC movies.
He's not afraid to get down and dirty and do anything. And this one stars Michael Pena.
Michael Pena's in it?
He is the big kind of new guy in this. And we also have a guy, I'm looking for what his name is.
As soon as you mention Michael Pena's name, like anything that could be at whatever level it is, it jumps up a couple of levels because now that Michael Pena's in it, because he's awesome.
Lewis.
He should be in way more things.
Ozawa.
Ozawa.
I'm not saying his name right. He's like one of the main characters in this.
Who does Michael Pena play? Good guy or bad guy?
Well, this is the thing. He is a guy that's been working for his country, but what he doesn't know is, like I was mentioning this before, you have these the bosses, and they don't really know what's going on with this spy stuff because it's kind of like you don't want to know everything, right? So it turns out they had a team that was taken by the bad guys and used for their nefarious purposes. And Michael Pena was the head of that team, and he lost most of his guys. Like all his guys got killed. And he turns out he was working for the bad guys all this time.
Michael Pena was working for the bad guys?
But he thought he was working for the good guys because, of course, you don't know what your missions are all about. Like, he was like, take out this guy, go do this, blow this thing up. And he was working for the bad guys all along.
They took advantage of poor, sweet Michael Pena?
Yeah, so Jack Ryan goes back to his roots.
Ryan goes after them then.
Well, he goes back to his roots, and what does he do? Cut the money off. So as soon as he cut the money off, then they're like, oh, stop the brakes here. They're in the middle of the op and the money's cut off and people are getting mad. Yeah, so that's kind of how this one went. And then Michael Pena joins the team in the end. This is a spoiler, by the way. Joins the team, and the bad guys are actually started out to be good guys. And they turned out they're supposed to be these like great donors and people who sponsor foundations and raise money for charities in their home countries. But they're actually the bad guys. And they're in charge of Michael Pena. So there's a lot of
switching sides and allegiances and subterfuge. Now, have you watched any behind-the-scenes stuff for this show, like interviews with Krasinski or anything?
No, I haven't.
Because I'm curious.
Have a fun time.
I'm curious if Krasinski actually likes doing this role, or maybe this is the final season because he doesn't want to do it anymore. I don't know.
Well, he finally takes a break at the end. That's kind of what happens here. He takes a break, and also, like, it's all about basically what happened through this series was that his boss Miller just ousted. So he's looking for they have a new boss.
CIA boss?
Yeah, the new head of the agency. And
let me guess, they were corrupt? Previous guy was corrupt?
Well, he was the guy that was putting this in play. So he gets killed in it all. Anyway, so and his new boss, who's Elizabeth Warren, I think it's her, Elizabeth
Warren?
I think that's
a politician?
Right. I think it's Elizabeth. Elizabeth something.
I don't
Anyway,
think it's Elizabeth.
she's Elizabeth. Anyway, she's played by Betty Gabriel. It's all about government and putting her in. She has to get put before a committee to be chosen.
Well, yeah, that's the political system there.
So she needs to be chosen. Anyway, so it's about that and assuring her position. And Jack Ryan, of course, goes a little bit rogue. Not really rogue because she's still under control of it. And Greer gets put in the job. So Greer gets back because Greer has been basically disgraced a lot and has problems. So he gets a good job finally. Mm-hmm. But he goes off because there's all these spies working and then they start trying to take him out. So it's a lot on the home front. They're doing that stuff. And then Jack Ryan and the team are over in Myanmar and they're doing their stuff.
Didn't you say this season was all over the world? They were in lots of different places?
Yeah. But it's mostly to do with
Myanmar?
Yeah, mostly.
That's in Asia, right?
It's also a bit of Nigeria. But anyway. Yeah, so
Kitty, look who's finally showed up.
Elizabeth Wright, that's her name. Anyway, same thing. So basically, the boss is trying to become the boss. Greer is trying to find out the bad guys at home, and then in the end, we turn out the main bad guy. Head of it all is the senator, head of the committee to appoint.
Of course, politicians are always corrupt.
Yeah, well, that guy always looks a bit untruthful. Anyway, but Jack Ryan almost gets killed over it. He actually gets kidnapped. He's lucky he didn't get shot. They get blindsided. And they capture Kathy, but he puts his life on the line to get Kathy out of the country. Kathy thinks she's working for this foundation with this woman, but instead the woman is kidnapping her. So Jack Ryan will do what she wants. So there's like a lot of things at play.
Was this the best season of this show so far?
No, I think I like the first season. I like the best because it shows the evolution of him. But this one, he goes back to his roots. We get Kathy in it. We got Greer in it. And Greer is healthier now. He was almost dying there. Mm-hmm. And Jack Ryan still has no problems with his spine for some reason, but he gets in trouble in this one. But the end,
this season was still good. You still enjoyed it?
I still enjoyed it, and he put it to the man at the end, and then he's taking a break, and he goes off with Kathy.
Okay, I don't know.
So it's about time he takes a break because he really has. Many times he's just scraped by, right?
Yeah.
Many times and this time he gets completely surrounded. There's no way out, but good thing for him, they just kidnap him. They don't kill him because he could have gotten.
Okay, so he gets taken Liam Neeson style. There you go.
Yeah.
So now that this show is over, you got all 4 seasons, what ranking would you give this show overall?
Oh, the show is really good. For what I mean, it's not a fantasy show. It's about this guy working for the CIA and working to take down baddies in the world and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So for what it is, I think it's really well done. I give it like a 94.
94.
I really enjoyed it.
And
I really enjoyed the show.
So it's one of the few good Prime shows because we don't have a lot of good stuff on Prime. I mean, they do have some good shows. They're coming back for season 2 of Good Omens.
Right.
That's supposed to be coming out soon.
The Russia season was the weakest in my mind because it's totally not the situation anymore.
Was that 2 or 3?
3. I think that was the last
3.
one.
2 was Venezuela.
Yeah.
Or was that 1?
That was 2. That one made more sense. The Russian one was the one that was out of play with what's going on in the world.
Well, yeah, because they had to they probably started making it before the war broke out.
It was way too small within the Russian government themselves. That was really too small. That's the season I think was the weakest.
But
this one was really good. Pulled it out. It was good. It was excellent. It was
good.
They did a good job. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm sure we're gonna get more Jack Ryan because they keep making movies all the time.
Well, yeah, he doesn't he just says he's taking. He basically basically probably got himself fired, and he goes off with Kathy, but he doesn't care. He'll
They
resurface.
could bring him back. Prime could do movies because Amazon Studios does movies, so they could just say, "Hey, Krasinski, you want to do a movie about Jack Ryan? Okay, we're going on." They could just continue the story.
Oh yeah.
If they did that, would you be down for that?
Oh yeah, and the cast the team that he has is if Michael Pena stays on the team, that would be great because Michael Pena is getting things back for his boys.
Yeah. Well, as I said earlier, as soon as you put Michael Pena in something, whatever it is that much better because Michael Pena is amazing. So that's Christine's thoughts on Prime's Jack Ryan season 4 as well as the overall series. I haven't seen it. It's not really like spy subterfuge. I might check it out sometime.
You probably like the action part of it. You're more into that than me.
Maybe, but it's not something that's really jumped out at me. So
well done.
Maybe I'll get to it sometime. Maybe not. Who knows? Let us know your thoughts on Jack Ryan, which is from Amazon on Prime. Let us know down in the comments below what you think of it. You can always give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed Christine's review here and our thoughts on it. What do we have now? Our next segment is another book report. I've been continuing to read books, so I read Star Wars Aftermath, Empire's End.
Okay, this is the last one of
that this is the third part of that trilogy. Now I did enjoy this book.
Yes.
It was quite good. It was definitely the weakest of the 3 though. And here's why, is because you know how you're not too crazy about Phantom Menace? Because you got all those Senate hearings and the speeches
the
and
blockade
the blockade. What are we going to do? It's perfectly legal.
The government stuff. I think it's so boring.
There's too much of this political stuff, and Mon Mothma's in it more.
Maybe people like that, but I don't like political stuff.
It's not really political subterfuge like you would get in Jack Ryan or anything.
Yeah.
You get all the main characters back from this ragtag team. You get the leader, the pilot Nora Wexley. Her son Temin is in it. He's like 16 or 17 now. I don't know.
She was the character.
You got the bounty hunter Jazz Amiri. You got the ex-Imperial loyalty officer Singer. He's got some long name there. And he's the most interesting character, as I've said before. But then in this one, he's not that interesting because he's hanging out with the Senate and the Chancellor, and he's doing stuff for her on this... No. Actually... Oh, yes, he is. So...
That's the only interesting thing about the Senate is that he became a senator. That's the only thing
he's not a senator anymore. So, as I've mentioned before, there's all these interludes.
Right.
And it's, the story's going along, and every once in a while we're paused. It's elsewhere in the galaxy. Here's what's happening, right? With maybe a character but usually it's characters we don't know. Well, there is a story about Jar Jar in this, and it's kind of a sad story about what happens to him because this is after the Empire.
Yeah,
so Jar Jar's still alive. So you want to know what happens to him afterwards?
Is this canon?
Yeah, this is canon.
What happens to him?
So far it's canon unless they decide it's not.
Your mother's going to cry in a minute. Okay.
She doesn't watch this. Jar Jar has, because he's no longer a senator on Naboo.
Right.
He still lives on Naboo in Theed, but he's homeless.
Homeless because he's not accepted by his people.
He's not accepted by anyone. Like he's kicked out of the Gungan city.
Yeah,
we know that.
He's too clumsy for them.
He's not accepted by any of the Naboo there in Theed or anywhere else. So he's just a random street performer, and he performs for these orphan kids just to give them some happiness because their lives are kind of crummy.
But he doesn't have any money or food.
No one will give him money. No one will talk to him. No one wants anything to do with him.
Jeez.
And so, that's a bit of a downer there.
Should have stayed on Coruscant at least. That's the problem with the government in Star Wars. I was just thinking about that. They have no parliament and cabinet and Senate. They just have the Senate. That's not a very functioning government. I think that was a problem right from the get-go. All they have is this one body, right? They don't have any checks and balances, and I think that's probably a fault on their part.
I don't want to talk about political stuff in the Star Wars universe. We get another story on Tatooine because we always have to go to Tatooine. This one's about...
Oh, it's so exciting, Tatooine. With
this
all the
one's about
desert.
Cobb Vanth. Remember him from The Mandalorian?
Which guy was he?
That was the Marshal. in Freetown,
Oh, the Marshall
played by
guy.
Timothy Oliphant.
Yeah.
So we get a nice story about him.
Okay. Well, I'm really sad about Jar Jar. Well, he doesn't die in it, does he? He's not dead yet.
No, he's
he
not
could go
dead.
on another adventure. He could be. You never
He could,
know.
but no
he could
one
just
wants.
be in the street and some very exciting person comes by and says, "Oh, we're going on an adventure."
Or Darth Vader will show up and be like, "That's it, you're dead, buddy," and just slice him in two. So
I hope not. Well, he's not dead. That's good.
okay, the main story though with the main characters, it's not as exciting as the last one,
Yeah.
but it's still an enjoyable read, right? I just didn't enjoy all the political stuff, and there's constantly attempts on the Chancellor's life, and she almost dies numerous times throughout this series.
Why didn't they try that on the other guy? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, apparently, I think they did, but we don't see a lot
Right,
of it.
we never saw that in the back. What was going on?
And there's a lot of
lightning
remnants
bolts going through
of
people.
the Empire. One of Palpatine's lackeys, Maz Amida, has to sign a surrender for the Empire.
Oh.
So this book is mostly about the Battle of Jakku, which we get hints of in The Force Awakens.
We see all the crashed ships. Oh,
Yeah.
that's a neat way to start it.
So if you want to find out more about the Battle of Jakku,
That's one of the ships that she was going through.
yeah, that's one of the Star Destroyers.
Yeah,
but there's
to
also
get all
a
the
Super
parts.
Star Destroyer that goes down. I think that's what she was scavenging
Yeah,
from.
because that was massive. I love the scale of that in that movie. I love showing the scale of that, and I think that was a very clever
This
idea.
one's quite interesting. I mean, because they're on Jakku for a lot of it. There's a hut there. Of course, there's a hut there.
There's a hut everywhere, isn't there?
This one's different. Well, on all
How
these,
many huts are there? We've learned about quite a few of them.
there's a lot of them.
Oh.
Okay, and apparently you're not supposed. For some reason, you're not supposed to do anything to them. Like you can't kill them or anything.
Like
I don't
an
know why.
endangered species, I would say, because there's no huts just roaming about the streets.
No, they don't seem very capable sentient
They are a
beings.
bit of a mafia.
But anyway,
You don't wanna mess
apparently
with
this hut, I can't remember her name, but she's not fat like the other ones. She's like slimmed
She's like
down,
a worm?
and she's a muscular worm that'll like take on everyone.
I'd love to see that on film.
Yeah, that would be interesting instead of the fat ones that get carried around by their slaves. Like
yeah,
we've
well,
seen.
they're like big caterpillars. I mean, I do like caterpillars, but the huts aren't very glamorous.
So in terms of learning more about the Star Wars canon and going really deep into it, like this was good, and I give this a best book ever.
I think you could write a book now yourself.
Me?
At this point, yeah, with all this stuff just do it for fun. I think you really could.
Fan fiction.
Yeah, you could do some fan fiction.
I'm too busy trying to produce this show and read and going through more content, including reading these books, and I've already started my next one. It's Star Wars Thrawn.
Oh yeah,
by Timothy Zahn.
Yeah, we don't know much about Thrawn, but he's definitely coming up in Ahsoka.
Yeah, and we saw him in Rebels in a bunch of episodes. He's a character from the expanded universe, which is no longer canon. It's now called Legends, but they brought him back for Rebels, so because Rebels is canon. Rebels is canon, and so are these new books.
Confusing, isn't it?
So I'm interested in learning about this because this timeline, I think it's a trilogy of books, these Thrawn books, and they're in between Solo and original recipe Star Wars, A New Hope, from 77.
Like 10 years.
I don't know exactly. I just started the book. I read the first chapter.
So before the one with when they blow up the place, before that film.
Rogue One?
Rogue One, yeah.
Well, Rogue One and Solo are kind of around the same time.
Well, it's...
Okay, because Rogue One leads right into Episode 4.
Yeah, Rogue One leads it, so it's just before that.
Okay. So,
say.
Anyway, Star Wars Aftermath, Empire's End. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I recommend if you're really into Star Wars and you want to learn more about it, check this book out. I give it a best book ever. Let me know your thoughts on it. If you've read any of the new Star Wars canon or any of the old ones, if there's any good ones or any bad ones, let me know down in the comments below. Love to hear about that. You can leave us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this segment. I don't think a lot of people are watching our book segments, but I enjoy doing them.
I'll give an update on my books. So I am
What are you reading?
Well, because I had a problem with my Audible and I couldn't buy any books for some reason, I got into these free books, and I think this is number 6 now by Peter Granger. There's about this detective DC Smith, and that's what I've been reading. So when I finish this series, I'll let you know. So this is book, I think 6 now that I'm on. That's what I've been reading.
Some of our viewers really enjoyed your Stephen King reviews, so if you want to review more Stephen King books, people will watch them.
I got into these though because I couldn't download any books because these were the ones I could get. So I'm finishing this series, if you're wondering why I haven't had any book stuff for you.
It's now time for another episode of Chakotay's Odyssey featuring the adventures of Janeway. This one's going to be a little bit different because this is Season 2, Episode 14. It's called Alliances. And as soon as I finished watching it yesterday, I went up and told you, if you have time before we record next, check this out. Because it's crazy. There's so much going on about it.
Yeah.
So we're not going to really do a recap of the story this time because we both watched it.
If only all the episodes were like this one.
This episode turns into a big soap opera. And it's great. Because there's so much going on. I mean, the Kazon are attacking them. And they're adrift. 5 minutes later, the ship is fine. We get some stuff on medbay so that we can see the doctor. The doctor and Kess, his nurse, are there. So that's just so we can see them. But there's so much going on. I mean, we get the return of Seska again.
Yeah.
So she's looking full on Cardassian, and she's with her, what's that guy? The Moff or something? Cullah?
Jerk guy.
Yeah,
they don't have a strong position, but they
the
pretend
Mage Cullah. So
he's a real a-hole.
He's an idiot. He's the one who they captured Chakotay. Remember I talked to you about that? And then this is the guy who gave him a weapon so he could and then he escaped, right?
Right. He's not that smart.
They're very sexist.
They're not that advanced, these Kazon guys. They got like spaceships and stuff, so they have some science.
So we get some more intrigue with Seska, who is one of the very few interesting characters in this series. And she's great. She's played by Martha Hackett. Yeah. And I think this actress is great. So she's back, and now we get more drama because before she was telling Chakotay that she stole his essence and now has got his...
Oh gosh, yeah, they didn't deal with that in this episode.
But instead, she's saying that now her baby daddy is Maja Cullah.
Oh, well, that's better.
So she's just lying to everyone. So who's the father?
Elevate her position, and now there's a spy in the midst. One of these Maquis people that they never really identify who they all are. But apparently he's a Maquis because there was only like 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, one of them was Seska.
And one of them was Chakotay and B'Elanna and Tuvok, so I don't know where these people are coming from.
But Tuvok was a spy.
I know, but he was like on that ship. There was only a few on the ship, so we got another Maquis guy, I guess. There's random Maquis. We got 2. Yeah.
So one guy's disagreeing with Janeway at the funeral.
Which you never do out in public. You never argue with the captain.
But like also, then there's another Maquis guy, and he contacts...
In engineering.
Yeah, well, both of them I think were engineers. He contacts the Kazon. He's like, don't worry, I'm familiar with communication. So he's the communications officer, I'm guessing.
Yeah, so they want to get their technology.
He's contacting them, working against the Voyager, which he's on.
Yeah.
And he's contacting the Kazon behind their back, and then it never goes back to him. We don't find out what happens to him.
Well, nothing, because it's not known.
It just drops off.
Well, he's going to be continuing to do that. They haven't found him.
Janeway tries to form an alliance with Cullah and Seska. That doesn't go well.
She should have looked into her history books a little bit more on that one.
And then Neelix meets up with the Trabe. And then these guys are so nice and everything, and they're like,
she's assuming everybody's nice.
We just want to be peaceful. Yes, we did this to the Kazon, so we get more of their background, and all their ships are from the Trabe, and they were originally just enslaved to the Trabe.
Yeah, I don't really know how they took over, but
they revolted, and now they're on their own, and so the Trabe are like, we just want to make peace, and that turns out to be complete BS.
Well, they want peace, all right. Peace by eliminating the Kazon. That does create peace.
So this guy in charge of the Trabe, he tries to kill them all. All of them get together, all the Majas, the head of the clans, the Kazon clans, and they meet with this guy from the Trabe and the Voyager representative, Janeway. And then they're like, sorry, I got a call. We got to go.
She's finally trying to win them over. And of course, but we've seen this before. We saw this with the movie with Chris Pine when Pike gets killed, where all the Starfleet people are all in one room, right? And the ship appears from...
Yeah, that was a bad movie. Into Darkness.
Yeah, Into Darkness, and they shoot everybody, right? We've seen that before.
But they copied from this. This was way more interesting. Now, it doesn't make sense that this trade ship is shooting and doesn't hit anyone. Like, no one's got a scratch on them. That makes no sense. She
tells them to get down. It's a very sturdy table. Because remember, the table was really important.
But if you got guns on a starship, those are big guns, right?
But these trade people don't have the right stuff, right? Because the Kazon took it all. So they don't have, like, all the right stuff. Because if they did, they would have won a long time ago.
Point is, at the end of this at the beginning of this episode, they're in a bad spot. Because I think what's happening is they keep going straight towards the Alpha Quadrant, right? But as we've seen from previous episodes, the Kazon, wherever they go, they just claim that as their territory, right? So all these clans are chasing Voyager, and they're just moving with it.
It's like Afghanistan.
And they keep coming after them.
It's like Afghanistan. It's all full of different tribes, different leaders. The politics is very complex. And outside forces are never going to succeed.
Their only main goal is that they are all going after this ship that has this advanced technology that they want. Other than that, they don't work together. But at the beginning, Voyager's in a bad spot, and they're adrift, even though the ship looks fine.
Well, it's not like
And then at the end, they're still in the same position, except now the Kazon are even more pissed off with them, because they think that Voyager double-crossed them, which they didn't.
Well...
The Trade they're now fighting with the Trade because they're dicks too, And then there's this really bad speech at the end that Janeway gives, like, we must hold on to our principles of Starfleet because they're the best friend we could ever have. It's a really bad speech.
The problem is, in the first couple episodes, they were real a-holes to the Kazon. They didn't pay them respect. I don't think they adhered to their principles properly. And every time they've come across them, they've been real a-holes to them. So a-holes and a-holes. I mean, that's basically, why would they be nice to the Federation? They were real jerks to them in the beginning.
But they tried to make peace this time, and it didn't go well at all. So things are just getting worse for this crew, right?
Yeah.
And I think the Kazon are just chasing them and going after them the whole time. So.
Right. And it also shows, like, you can have a person that seems to share your values and is all nice and everything, but the problem is he's a believer in genocide. That's never good.
Why do you think that Cullen, because he wants to swap crew with Janeway.
He wants the technology.
He wants to spy on them.
That's the whole purpose. So now they do have a spy. He wants the technology. Of course they do. Because that's how they've got all the trade. I thought they were trade, but the trade stuff.
So far in this series, the most interesting character is Seska. And so any episode that we get Martha Hackett on there playing Seska, it's a much better episode.
But we still don't see her very much.
No.
She's just trying to get her own position solidified. It's not very strong.
I think
she's doing a better job.
I don't know this for a fact, but I think later on she ends up back on Voyager, even though she's Cardassian now. I can't wait to find out what happens with her, because I don't know what happens with Seska in the end, so don't spoil it for me, but this episode 14, it's great. Okay? It's absolutely good. Oh, and one thing I'll mention, because your favorite character, Harry Kim, who is not an interesting character, he appears at one point, and it's only so that he can argue with Janeway, because Janeway's like, okay, fine, maybe we have to form some kind of alliance, because otherwise they're going to destroy us, right?
Well, it's a when in Rome situation, right?
So Harry Kim gets to speak only at this time so that he can be like, nope, we shouldn't do this, Captain. They're not trustworthy.
He's such a Boy Scout.
Yeah, that's exactly his character. He's the Boy Scout. And he's so naive.
But kind of Boy Scouts in
the
end.
But he's the worst. He's the worst. And he's so naive about the world, you know?
This is his first job. Why would you even listen to him? Why is he so important? That also doesn't make sense.
Because he's on the bridge.
Yeah, I know, but he's not important. He's one of those guys that when you take him to a planet, he's the guy that gets killed off. But for some reason at Voyager, they thought, let's give him a choice position. He's like, this is our first job, but yet he's in all like command meetings.
There is a good scene. Well, yeah, but you also got ex-con Tom Paris in all those meetings.
And Neelix, who is like just...
Oh, he was in the meetings because he's the food expert. How are our rations? Are we good for food? We're great, Captain.
Neelix a more exciting character. He should be more nefarious. They try to make him seem a bit nefarious, but he's not. He's like a Boy Scout too. And he should have kind of come around to his ways, but instead, no. Everyone's like a Boy Scout.
I think the reason they have Neelix in the show is he's supposed to be the comic relief, but he's not that funny.
No, the writing for his character was a complete disaster. Yes.
There was another interesting scene here where they're going along, and then suddenly this armada comes up, and they hail them. Because it's the Kazon ships, but it turns out it's not the Kazon, it's Neelix with the Trabe.
Yeah.
I thought that was a nice twist there.
Neelix should have been like the Taylor Garrick. That's what he should have been.
Who's Garrick?
Garrick from Deep Space Nine. He was the Cardassian that had the tailor shop on Deep Space Nine. He was the resident Cardassian.
I don't remember this
he was a very interesting character, and you never really knew his alliances, what he was up to. Mm-hmm. He was kind of like doing things behind everyone's back, but he really was like a good guy, sort of. But he was a Cardassian.
But he's Cardassian, and we hate the Cardassians.
That's the way that Neelix should have been written. Mm-hmm. That he's got these underhanded dealings. Because sometimes he seems a little bit like that, but then he's such like he would be like the best neighbor on the street, man. He would be like,
I guess,
having big barbecues
for
everybody.
I want you to watch this episode because I thought it was pretty crazy and wacky. Did you enjoy this episode?
Yeah, well, I wish they were all like that, but they're not. That's the problem. Yeah. But
there's so much going on.
When I first watched Voyager, I really did watch it with rose-colored glasses, kind of assuming they knew what they were doing, right? Mm-hmm. And then I watched it later. I tried to watch all the Star Trek shows again. This was a few years ago, and I just couldn't do it. Remember? I was like suffering.
Well, if you go back, I've been watching our segments of Chakotay's Odyssey, and they're hilarious. I really enjoyed them. But if you watch the first two, where you were watching them with me, and you're so mad, they're really funny.
I just think the
This
show.
is dumb. Why are they doing this?
Like, I wish I could have been a writer on some of it. Like, I just said, don't do that. Like, there's some big pitfalls they have here in the show. Anyway, but an episode like this is great when we see a real good episode, right?
Check out Season 2, Episode 14, Alliances for Star Trek Voyager. Like, the previous one was really bad with B'Elanna, but this one was great. And, give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this. And I even made Christine watch this episode because it was actually really good. But check out some of the other episodes I've mentioned, dear.
When I have a chance.
Especially the ones with Seska. And that was another exciting episode of Chakotay's Odyssey, featuring the adventures of Janeway.
With Seska.
Yeah, should be the Seska show. Okay, now we're going back into the DCEU for part 13.
Unlucky 13.
We watched... Yeah, fortunately, this wasn't one of the best ones. We watched Shazam! Fury of the Gods, aka Shazam 2, which just came out in March and flopped at the box office.
Yeah.
So, you didn't watch this with me because you didn't want to rewatch it so soon.
I don't like watching something right after seeing it. I like to forget a little bit
Which is one of the differences between us, because I love watching the stuff again because it helps me commit it to memory. Now, as I don't have as much to say about this, so I'm going to try and focus on the good things of this. I mean, you get the whole cast back. You get all the kids, which unfortunately they've grown up a lot in 4 years difference here.
Yeah, that's a takeaway.
Yeah, that's not good. But they did get the whole cast back. You got Helen Mirren, Lucy Liu in it. Jamon Hansu is back, and he's great, although his storyline doesn't make much sense. Which, oh well. The dragon looked really good. I really like that.
Yeah,
it's a different like wooden dragon, and it like when it roars, it just emanates fear, and people panic and they can't move. That's one of its powers. I didn't
like the unicorns.
There is some humor in this movie, but man, I mean, I think the director David F. Sandberg, who directed the first one as well, I think he did a good job with this.
But it's a copy of the first one.
Yeah, it's essentially it's the first one. It's just more of the same.
It's extended.
And that's
it's like the extended version of the first one.
That's why the critics didn't really enjoy it.
Yeah, they didn't come up with anything new for it. I mean, it's a sweet movie. It's well done, especially compared to most of these other DC movies that were not done properly.
It is currently rated at 49% Rotten Critic
That's
rating.
because it's a copy, I would say.
Because there's nothing new. And an 86% audience score. So not a lot of people saw it, but the ones that did enjoyed it.
It's still a well put together
And I enjoyed this movie too.
You know, I think would have been really fun
What?
if the kids, because they are more grown up, if they would have been all separated now and we see what they're doing with their lives. Maybe one or two could still be in like high school and having issues there. But if they were all like trying to have their first job and get their first apartment and they're all separated and then this happens and then they have to get together, that would have been way more interesting.
Good idea for a sequel.
Yeah, that would have been way more interesting.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Having the same thing again.
I didn't like that Mary didn't go off to post-secondary education. She didn't go to college or university.
She's still there?
And she's still there.
She wouldn't be allowed. They wouldn't be able to feed her.
Yes, they got that really expensive house there.
Yeah, they have a lot of mouths to feed, and they're teenagers. Like she wouldn't be able to stay unless she worked there. That would be different, right? She should have a job there.
Yeah, she did talk about that.
But she's like, no, I mean, worked at the house.
Mm-hmm.
She'd almost have to be like a counselor or something in order to stay there. They wouldn't let her stay there.
Social worker?
Yeah, something like that.
So
anyway, I think it was a lost opportunity and it's a copy, but it is still well done.
The Lair, okay? The Lair is full of like wacky kind of visual gags.
Yeah.
Because they've dressed it up with all kinds of kid things. So
yeah.
Shazam, okay, so Zachary Levi is sitting in the main chair, which is the wizard's chair.
Yeah.
And he's got one of those beaded seat cushions on it.
Yes, like if our daughter had a lair, it would probably have strings of llamas and little Christmas lights.
Well, there are Christmas lights all over it,
yeah.
and they got all kinds of fun things. They put up a TV, the 7 Deadly Sins. They decorated them to look ridiculous. I love that.
That's what especially a teenage girl, that's what they would do.
The one they keep showing was Gluttony. They drew on it a bikini on Gluttony.
I just thought it was real cute. And
so there's a lot of good visual stuff like that.
It was nice to see that stuff hashed out, but again, do we need it? Do we need this movie, I guess?
Yeah, it didn't do anything new. So my problem with this movie is there wasn't enough humor, but the main problem with this was the script. It's not the director's fault. It's not any of the actors or anyone's fault. The thing is that I think they rushed this, and the script wasn't where it needed to be. First off, the humor was, if the first one had lots of humor, this one was way down here.
Yeah.
Okay? It didn't have that. So there's a lot of things that just don't make sense. Dame Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu just show up, and they don't really offer an explanation for that. Okay? Where did they come from? They sort of address it, but not really. Jamon Hansu shows up.
I think it's just a timing issue.
Didn't he die in the last one?
Issue.
Okay? And they sort of explained it, but not really. Now, there was a funny scene where, what's the main kid's name? Billy Batson. He's dreaming, and that he's Shazam, and he's on a date with Wonder Woman at the restaurant,
right.
But they don't show her face, right? But you see there's Wonder Woman, and when they do finally show her face, it's Jamon Hansu, because he's interrupting his dream to talk to him in a vision,
right.
And so you see Wonder Woman with Jamon Hansu's face. I'm like, this is weird.
I think the other kid.
It was great.
What's the other kid? Is
Freddy?
He's a much more interesting character, and they should have focused on him more in it. They did a little bit, but that's where the humor would have come from. Also, so most of the kids have moved out of the house, and they got new kids in the house now. That's what happens.
No, it's all still the same kids.
Yeah, exactly, but that wouldn't be like that. There's always new kids coming and going, so that also would have been interesting, right? To put that in, you don't just have.
But it was nice getting to see the same kids again, right?
They would. I think it was a missed opportunity.
And because we're spoiling this, we do get Wonder Woman at the end, and while I like the cameo, this didn't really work very well because
she's not good at anything.
No. I'm not saying that at all.
No,
okay?
But all these cameos that she's in, it's unnecessary, it seems, most of the time.
Having her in The Flash was good. Having her in this really didn't serve much purpose other than the fact that Billy's obsessed with Wonder Woman because he's a teenage kid, or he's supposed to. Guy looks like he's 25 going on 30 at this point.
Yeah.
The actor, Asher Angel. And he's got this Hollywood, California tan on him. Come on, they're supposed to be in Philadelphia. These guys should be as white as possible. They wouldn't have a tan.
Freddy more. Freddy's a more interesting character, and I think it should have been just based around him.
Could have used some more Darla making her funny jokes.
Yeah, if it was about Freddy and her, because they're now the
But
they're
Billy's
that
the
age.
star because Shazam is.
He's not that interesting.
I like how they continue with trying to have different names. So, Freddy calls himself Captain Every Power, and he calls Billy Captain Every Power Junior. Because in the comics originally, and this actually goes back so far that Elvis was into this, his favorite character was Captain Marvel Jr. Because originally Shazam was called Captain Marvel. They don't go by that name anymore because it confused with Captain Marvel in
it's very confusing.
in the MCU.
Yeah.
So I didn't like how the fact that they kill off Shazam at the end, and then in less than 5 minutes he's brought back. And it wasn't done in a very well. Oh, the staff has no power in it. So Wonder Woman comes up, lifts it up, hits the ground. Oh, suddenly it's charged again. We bring back Billy, comes up out of the ground.
So you just needed Wonder Woman from the beginning. Yeah.
It means there's no stakes to this movie.
Exactly. And I find Billy is not that interesting. I find the other characters
He wasn't as
more
interesting in the first one with his tragic origin story.
Yes.
That was heartbreaking.
He's very well rounded considering.
Yeah. The first one was great, but this one they didn't do as much with that character. And they didn't do much with any of the characters. No. You get the foster parents back, but they're not as funny as they were in the first one. I mean, both of them look great.
And they're missing some charm, this movie.
Everyone in this movie, all the actors, the director, everyone is doing the best they can with what they're given. Unfortunately, what they're given isn't very good because ultimately the script let them down. And I think they should have waited and pushed this back until they had a good script.
It's lacking some charm that the first one had. This was a new concept in the first one. It was very charming, and that's why people really liked it.
And funny.
Yeah, and people that didn't know the universe could go there and watch it. It was still good. It's well put together. It's well done. But it was missing that whatever the first one had.
What else can we say about this movie? Now, even though having Djimon Hounsou back as the Wizard didn't make much sense, he's amazing. The Wizard. He's amazing in everything.
I think the Wizard is the comedy that we need.
He popped up in Black Adam for a cameo.
Well, yeah, they should have used him more in Black Adam. But anyway, I think he's funny, and I like him.
And there was some half decent jokes, but unfortunately a lot of them were spoiled in the trailers for me.
Right.
And that adds to the fact that it wasn't as humorous because, remember when he's doing that #family thing?
Yeah.
When he's talking to Helen Mirren, because they're having Philly cheesesteaks, he's like, you may be older than me and know a lot more and have more experience and look really old, but I've seen all those Fast and Furious movies, and I know it's all about family. And then no one shows up, and that was the cue for they would show up.
We saw that in the trailer.
And
the trailer wasn't. Anyway, I think you like the CGI stuff in the dragon. I couldn't care less about that.
No, that's not what made the movie.
I don't like the fighting, and there was quite a bit of that kind of fighting, imaginary CGI with monsters.
I know what else is good in this movie. Mark Strong comes back for an end credit scene. And they put a beard on him, and he's still Dr. Savannah locked in that room in the prison.
Yeah.
And we get to see Mr. Mind again.
Now, he's more interesting. I really want something more about him.
And we find out that he's just trying to run errands, but he's a caterpillar, so it's taken him
forever.
like 4 years.
It takes forever. I think that's a very interesting character.
And then he takes off again, and Mark Strong's like, what are you doing? I gotta get out of here.
Listen, this is the rewrite on this. The caterpillar is now the villain. The kids are all grown up. There's new kids in the house. We still have a couple there that are emerging and having their own issues. And the caterpillar is there to take them down. And the wizard has to be rescued. And that's a better movie.
Yeah, there you go. You could have Mary off in college. And you could have Billy as her roommate.
Having their own issues. And we see their lives.
And you could have Freddie too. And then the younger kids are still at the house, and then there's new kids, but they still visit them, and sometimes they have to get together and team up.
And maybe the family's having some issues to support the family of so many teenagers eating so much food, and such a very expensive mortgage must be on that house. Those are things that would have made a better movie.
And they just bought it, and then it got destroyed. But they did rebuild it, so... But they still would have to buy all that material.
The upkeep on that kind of house?
I'm sure that's like 100-year-old house in Toronto.
The upkeep with the roofs and everything. Oh my gosh.
That's a big house.
That would have been better. Bring back the caterpillar. of course, I like Caterpillar, so.
Well, maybe if we get another Shazam movie, which I doubt we are, maybe the plan would have been Mr. Mind would have been the villain,
yes.
but he brings back Dr. Savannah to help him as a sidekick.
Yeah.
And oh man.
Yeah, bring it on.
Wasted potential, unfortunately. However,
the Caterpillar would have been really clumsy trying to hold on to things like little like like magic spear wands and stuff, and you'd be really having a challenge to hold on to things and to travel.
You could just have the Caterpillar trying to do some evil plans, and then a
Yes.
bird comes and takes him, and he's like,
Hilarious.
"Get off me!"
There's like so many things you could do with that Caterpillar. Anyway, lost opportunity.
Regardless, this movie came out. It flopped hard, unfortunately, which it didn't
It's
really
still a
deserve.
sweet movie.
It's fun. If you get a chance to check out Shazam! Fury of the Gods, I recommend it, especially if you enjoyed the first one. If superheroes aren't your thing, you're probably going to be lost if you just jump into this one.
Yeah, the first one, I went with people that didn't know anything about this stuff, and they thought it was a great film.
Yeah.
This one's like, it's the first one extended, so still gives you more of this family and stuff.
It's unfortunate what happened, but I enjoyed this, and on the internet rating system, I give this a best movie ever. What kind of rating would you give
still good.
Shazam! Fury of the Gods
Like,
here? I got my
if it was
4K
on its
copy.
own, which wouldn't have made much sense, like then I would give it a higher score. But yeah, I don't know. I forget what I gave it before, but it's still well done. I'd probably give it like a 90.
Oh, no.
It's just well done, but it's just missing that charm.
Yeah. Well, the director's not going to do any more of these now. Because of toxic fans complaining to him about how they didn't like this and this and the thing. I mean, I don't think this movie's perfect, but the director, David F. Sandberg, should be proud. He made a good movie.
It's a good movie.
I enjoyed it. I'm going to enjoy watching it again and again over the years. And I don't think he has anything to be embarrassed about. And if people are giving him a hard time, that's a dick move. Don't give the director a hard time. He made a good movie. He did a good job. It's not his fault that the writers and the screenplay writers let him down, right?
Yeah.
Oh, well. That's
if
unfortunate.
we were getting a whole bunch of these, like a TV series, then okay, this would have been all right. And then the next one, we see the Caterpillar as a villain, but it's not.
I don't think they should put any of these characters on TV because it devalues the brand then. You want to have them as movies.
This was like, why make this movie when it's the same as the first movie? It just doesn't make sense.
You got to come up with something new. Give us a reason for that. But whether you saw it or not, let us know your comments down in the comment field below. You can give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this segment or any of the others. And that was part 13 of Into the DCEU. Yeah. We're almost done them. Now we're going back for another segment of Tarantino Unchained.
The Tarantino 10.
His second movie from 1994 is, in my opinion, probably his best, Pulp Fiction. Start with a huge star-studded cast. You got Sam Jackson, John Travolta, Uma Thurman, Ving Rhames, Bruce Willis,
Keitel.
Harvey Keitel is in it.
Steve Buscemi was in it, but I missed him.
Steve Buscemi. Oh, Tim Roth is back.
Oh yeah, Tim Roth is back.
So these are just random stories, but they're all interconnected. They all connect to each other.
And the time goes all over the place. It never really resolves itself.
So this movie was a comeback movie for two of the actors in it. For John Travolta.
Oh, big time for John Travolta.
And also Bruce Willis. Now, Bruce Willis was...
comeback for him?
Well, Bruce Willis was always working. However, he didn't really have any hits, but this one, put him back into superstardom.
I had forgotten he was in it.
Well, remember, John Travolta, all John Travolta had before this was those god-awful talking baby movies.
We hadn't seen him
which
for a
Bruce
while.
Willis was in as well, because he was the voice of the baby.
Oh, well, I guess.
So they both their careers were on a downhill because they were in those talking baby movies.
Looking back on it, Bruce Willis has always been a famous guy because he had a lot of movies going on, but Travolta was no one had heard from him, and he was in this. I'm sure he was cast because of his dancing. And
possibly.
It was a great cast decision.
Now, other actors such as Sam Jackson, Uma Thurman, Harvey Keitel, they were working, but for the first two, Sam Jackson and Uma Thurman, they had been working for a while. This was the movie that really made them break out. Because after this,
was very young.
Then Sam Jackson was in tons of things. And then she started being in tons of things. Right. After that, she was in British Avengers, not the MCU Avengers, the British kind of boring version.
She was in
and
Kill Bill.
Yeah, well, that was because Tarantino cast her, but
Yeah.
then she was in Batman and Robin, which probably killed her career again,
She's
unfortunately.
been in a lot of things. I really liked her. She was recently in The Imposters. I love that show. The Imposters. I think it's canceled now, but she was a villain, and she was a really good villain.
I think the only person who probably didn't do well from this movie, I'm thinking it was Ving Rhames, because he kind of became known as the guy who, let's say, had his butt violated in this movie. Which, by the way, this movie's not for kids. It's a rated hard R.
Oh yeah, it's not the romantic comedy that Terry and I thought it was. That was actually the last time I did see it. I only saw it that one time, I'm pretty sure.
This was only your second viewing.
I think so. Because, yeah, it was such a joke. Because, yeah, we thought we'd go rent a romantic comedy for the evening. And we thought that's what it was. And then we're like, this is not a romantic
there's
comedy.
A lot of F-bombs. There's a lot of the N-word in this.
The N-word again. But for some reason, I didn't mind it as much in this one. But
that's
still, it
all
shouldn't
of
be
Tarantino's movies. That's almost all of them.
I shouldn't be using that word. Anyway.
That's how Tarantino writes his scripts, and
I don't know if
unfortunately, that's how a lot of people talk.
I don't think he does that anymore, but at the time.
Really? Did you see The Hateful Eight?
No, I haven't yet.
Okay, you're gonna love that one.
Anyway, so there's a lot of slang. There's other slang in it that I didn't even understand.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of other racial slurs. So if you don't like that, I wouldn't. I'm not gonna say them, but I definitely heard a bunch of them. Christopher Walken's in for about 5 minutes, but it does end on a funny joke.
Hilarious. The
story of the watch.
It is a lot like the first one that we just saw. It really does harken back to some of that, like the sitting at the table, having your coffee and stuff like that. Anyway, it's really well done. I don't like. Well, it does kind of glamorize drugs for a little bit, but then it shows what can happen if you don't. But it would have been nice if she didn't make it. Anyway.
Yeah. So you learn what happens during a drug overdose.
Yeah. I wish that she's so perfect afterwards. But anyway.
That whole scene with John Travolta and what's his guy? The Back to the Future guy.
Eric Stoltz.
Yeah. Do you know that story about how he got screwed over on Back to the Future?
No, I know he was like a big actor in the 80s.
I haven't read up on this recently, so don't quote me on this. You can look this up on the internet for yourself. But here's the gist of the story. He was cast to play Marty McFly in Back to the Future.
Oh, okay.
But the producers really wanted Michael J. Fox.
Okay.
So they started production.
Yeah.
And then Michael J. Fox agreed to do the movie.
Right. Well, so he was the main character of a sitcom.
Listen, the cast and crew knew what was happening, but they still had to keep filming with Eric Stoltz. And then suddenly they shows up one day and the producers are like, yeah, Michael J. Fox is taking this role. Get out. You're fired.
Oh.
And that kind of killed his career in the 80s.
Well, I don't know if it killed his career. He chose not to act anymore. But probably maybe Tarantino was friends with him. I don't know. Because I don't see him in anything anymore.
He was also in The Butterfly Effect.
I don't remember
with Ashton Kutcher.
I'll say he probably just does what he feels like.
That whole scene where Uma Thurman is ODing and they're all freaking out and they got to give her an adrenaline shot. I found that scene hilarious. I was laughing like crazy. I know what's going to happen, and it's not funny if you're in that situation, but how they're all acting, they're just freaking out. Get her out of here! You can't bring her here! No, you don't understand! And, sorry, what are some highlights of this movie for you, since this is only your second time viewing it?
Well, I remembered it a lot, though, from the first time. It's something you don't really forget.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Well, the characters, the way they are, you get so much of their personality. The way that he does it, like you learn you see this world, and Vincent especially.
Vincent Vega.
He's such an interesting character.
Vincent Vega is constantly sitting on the can. To his detriment.
It's all about the can, actually.
You know why? It makes sense for his character. You know why he's always sitting on the can?
He wants to read his book.
Because he's a heroin addict.
Oh, I don't know anything about that.
What happens when you're on heroin or, say, morphine in the hospital?
I thought he was into cocaine. Okay.
He was shooting up heroin.
Oh, okay.
That's what he bought from Eric Stoltz.
I guess so.
And by the way, don't show this to kids, only because it's a hard R, but they make drug use seem like the coolest thing ever.
They do.
When he's shooting up.
I don't like that part of it.
Listen, You will know this from being on morphine in the hospital. When you're on heroin or morphine, it makes you constipated.
I learned that lesson once. That's why I never take it.
Yeah. So
I don't take it anymore.
He's a heroin addict.
No, thank you.
He takes heroin, so that's why he's always on the can, because he's always constipated.
Well, you're not on the can very often.
So that's why when the diner's being robbed, where is he? He's sitting on the can. And then later on, we see his end when he's supposed to be staking out Butch's apartment. Where is he? He's on the can.
Yes, I don't know if that was what they were intending. Yes.
No, that's exactly it.
Yeah, I never. I had one surgery and I had those drugs, and then no, never again.
Yeah, if you're in the hospital. Yeah, that's Christine's advice. If you're ever in the hospital and you have a chance to take morphine, don't, because it makes you really bad constipated.
Tylenol. By the way, people, take the Tylenol.
Just don't
You can handle it.
Just don't take the Oxycontin.
Oh, no, they never gave me that.
But we're not here to talk about that. I didn't really enjoy Butch's story that much. I mean, the story of the watch with Christopher Walken was hilarious, okay? That's a very interesting watch. But
he was just really dumb, and you get really frustrated with him. It's almost like a horror movie when they go split up and go into the woods by themselves in the dark. That's what he is. He's like in a horror movie. He's doing all the things that you shouldn't do, right? And you're just like, don't go back.
I didn't enjoy that story, but I did enjoy when he's in that pawn shop and he's like, no, I can't leave. And he goes back to save Ving Rhames because Ving Rhames is having his butthole violated. So anyway, he starts looking for weapons. And he keeps finding better and better weapons. And that was
really
great.
Funny.
He looks in a drawer, he pulls out a hammer. Then he finds a bat. Then he sees on the shelf there's these chainsaws.
And then there's a katana.
And then he looks on the shelf and there's a katana. He's like, oh yeah, that's it. And then he slaughters those guys with that katana.
There's a lot of humor in it. But it's a lot. But it's still funny.
Yeah, it's meant to be funny, but it's also really
it's very
gross and R-rated.
That they're handling in it are very
either way
not funny things. Anyway, it's well done. It's interesting the timeline, and you understand why they're wearing the shorts and all this kind of stuff.
But you're like, after this movie, this is the movie that made Sam Jackson cool forever. I mean, before this,
he gave him so many good things.
He was in Goodfellas before this, but once he was in this movie, Sam Jackson was like megastar forever, and he's just been in nothing but huge franchises since then.
Like he gave him so many great things to say. Sam Jackson must have been jumping over the world for this script.
One of his, I don't know if it's his next movie, but one of the next movies after this in '95 was Jurassic Park that he was in.
Oh, is he Jurassic Park? I haven't seen them in forever.
Yeah, because he was one of the techs there.
All I remember is Newman was in it.
Yeah, so he was one of the techs that had to work with Nedry, Newman.
Oh, I don't remember.
And then he had to fix the problems.
I've seen them in years.
Okay, but he's in so many big franchises. So Sam Jackson's in Pulp Fiction. He's in a lot of the Tarantino movies. He's in Jurassic Park. He's in Star Wars. He was in...
But they didn't use him right in Star Wars.
He was in Die Hard 3 with Bruce Willis.
He should have been used better in Star Wars.
When did Die Hard 3 come out? Was it before or after this movie? I don't remember.
Mace Windu was like such a boring character. What a waste of Sam Jackson.
Mace Windu is the most boring man in the galaxy.
I never did see Snakes on a Plane. I think he's in that. Is he not?
Yeah, he is.
And that just, to me, I just like, what is he? Is he out for the cash? Like... Okay, we know what the movie's about at least.
Pulp Fiction currently has a 92% certified fresh critic rating and a 96% audience score with over 250,000 ratings. Yeah. People love this movie. It didn't win Best Picture this year, unfortunately.
It's got some gruesome stuff in it. It's got really hard topics. It does glamorize drugs a bit. So those are like the drawbacks.
It's all about glamorizing criminal culture here, okay?
And so it's...
I mean, even Sam Jackson with his wallet.
It's saying some
Remember his wallet?
What
does his wallet say?
By the way, if someone sees you with that wallet, you're not getting that wallet.
It's a pop culture reference.
I'm not getting you that for your birthday.
You can buy that wallet on Amazon right now.
I know, you showed me. You're not getting that wallet. Maybe I'll embroider you one. saying very awesome husband. That's all you're gonna get.
You know who doesn't get enough credit for this movie is Tim Roth. He's great in this.
Tim Roth is great.
Even better than he was in Reservoir Dogs.
He had a lot to work with in Reservoir Dogs. He doesn't have as much to work with in this one. But
still gets a lot of dialogue.
He does. I think, it's just he's a good actor.
Yeah, he is.
Anyway, I think it's still, I don't like some of the topics, but it's a fabulous movie. It's fabulously put together. You go away, like I only saw it the one time, but I certainly remembered most of what was happening, and it's a really good movie. But not for kids.
No, not
like
for kids.
Almost not for Christine in a way, some of it.
So in terms of your rankings, now, I really enjoyed Reservoir Dogs, but Pulp Fiction's even better.
It's more sophisticated. It's taking elements of that. It's more sophisticated.
So in terms of our Tarantino 10, as you're calling it,
yeah.
Is Pulp Fiction your number 1 and Reservoir Dogs number 2, or is it the other way around?
Well, so far, yeah.
Yeah.
Both are brilliant in their own way, but I think this one he's refining things.
I give this a best movie ever. What do you give this?
Oh, yeah.
The best movie ever? Even though you don't do that?
97, 96.
So next, unfortunately, we got one that I didn't enjoy.
Oh.
And that is Jackie Brown.
I never saw Jackie Brown. I've seen quotes from
97.
I've seen it.
I'm not a big fan of that one. I saw it once. I think we rented it from Blockbuster. And I didn't enjoy it. I found it kind of boring. But hopefully I'll look at it from a different viewpoint. Hopefully maybe I'll appreciate it more.
Was a long time ago.
We didn't mention Harvey Keitel is great in Pulp Fiction. As the wolf, he just shows up in his Acura. Why is he driving an Acura?
Early in the morning?
Yeah, who has a funeral?
Early in the morning, and he's like dressed all. It looked like it was a wake or something.
Yeah, it's 8 in the morning, and he's at a funeral.
It looked like he was at one. I don't really know. Anyway,
someone
knows what he's doing there. It was a wedding. I thought it was a wake or something. Anyway, that was just funny. Anyway. Okay. The characters are well written. Even we only see him for like a few minutes, but you know what he's about.
But Harvey Keitel is like infinitely cool in my opinion now after doing this role. I don't know what he's like in real life, but
what you get from this film and the other film is character development.
Oh, it's all character and dialogue.
It's got a lot more scenery in it, a lot more like places where they go, a lot more things to look at. But it's the characters. You really get the character development. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. I enjoyed watching this. Did you enjoy watching Pulp Fiction?
Yes.
Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, please. Maybe give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this. Do you like Pulp Fiction? Maybe you don't enjoy it. Maybe it's too R-rated for you. Maybe you didn't like what happened to Ving Rhames, you know? It's a bit graphic. Well, anyway, it's not in that way. They don't show much on that. Yeah. It's just you use your imagination. There's a lot of drug use and a lot of crazy stuff in this. The 50 Diner was interesting. Anyway, let us know your thoughts. And that was part 2 of Tarantino Unchained. Now it's time for more Chakotay's Odyssey featuring the adventures of Janeway. Season 2, episode 15 is Threshold. And once again, we watched this episode together.
I was too hot. I had to come downstairs.
We haven't watched a Voyager episode together since episode 3 of season 1. And then we got pissed off and tapped out. So, this was ridiculous episode. It was so ridiculous.
And when I was watching
I'm not saying it was good, but it was funny.
Thinking that I remembered this. And I was thinking what had happened, but I kept on convincing myself, no, that's really dumb. You must be remembering it wrong. Okay. But I wasn't. I remembered it right.
So the episode's called Threshold, and this is a bad title. They're really bad at naming their putting titles on their episodes. But you came up with a better episode. Just call it Tom Paris the Lizard.
I didn't know that, but I remembered it.
This is a Tom Paris episode. It's
more like an amphibian type.
And the reason it's called Threshold is because they're testing out this new trans warp drive, which I'm
So
pretty sure
that makes
they
much
use
sense.
that same term in Discovery, what they call their engine
no,
there
that's their
in that first season.
No, that's the mycelium network.
So
that's something different.
Pretty sure I heard that trans warp drive somewhere else. So they're trying to get to warp 10 and cross the trans warp threshold, so that once you hit warp 10, you can be everywhere all at once and just get home in no time. Because that's their whole goal, is to get home.
I mean,
which makes sense.
Be everywhere. He was like everywhere.
So they're testing it for a while, and then they finally, okay, we got it, because you know what? Him and Balana, who's great at science, and Harry Kim, these three geniuses figure it out, right? And so suddenly they have this new shuttle, which I think they just copied the CGI from Deep Space Nine, because now all of a sudden they have this new high-tech shuttle that I'm guessing they built, because before their shuttles were just those old white crappy ones, those boxy ones.
They said they had to modify it,
so they built their own shuttle, and Tom Paris actually, hopefully they don't lose this shuttle, Tom Paris actually goes out and he does break the barrier. Okay, he goes to warp 10.
Then he disappears.
And then he comes back, and he's
fine for a while.
He's tripping out. He's acting. They ask him about it, and he's just like so high on this. I was everywhere. I could see everything.
But after that, he's like fine, just sitting in the lounge, like having coffee, and then he
acting
starts,
like a stoner.
Starts like getting like sick.
He got bad stomach pains. He got indigestion.
And I think he's gonna turn into a lizard, and that's what I was saying.
That's what you started thinking.
I really was thinking, that's crazy, Christine. Why are you thinking that? That's the stupidest thing that could happen.
So then he starts looking weird and gets all these veins, and it gets really bad, because then his hair starts falling out and his skin starts falling off.
The explanation for it made no sense.
And
he was de-evolving, not evolving.
He can't breathe oxygen. And they equated that he's because he was able to break this trans warp threshold, that now his cells are evolving beyond being a human, and he turns into this giant lizard.
Salamander thing. I mean, it would make more sense if he de-evolved.
Now,
that would make more sense. We see
Chakotay a little bit at the beginning, because they have this meeting where they're all giddy and they're talking about, and they're like, oh yes, we're so good at science. We totally solved this. And Chakotay breaks his stern, stoic expression, and he's actually smiling. But we do get to see a lot of the Doctor in this episode with sweaty Cass. I don't think she was that sweaty in this episode, but she's definitely very tiny in this episode. I think they might have sent her away to like one of those Hollywood fat camps where you have to like. Well, that's what Carrie Fisher said about Star Wars in '77.
Oh,
they sent her to what she called a fat camp.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so I'm guessing they sent her to one of these lose weight camps, because she is so tiny. She's the only one that can
help the Doctor. Anyway, he turns into an amphibious creature eventually, but he takes Janeway with him.
He's becoming this lizard man, and it looks ridiculous. It looks so bad. And I'll put it up on screen. It looks so bad.
The timeline didn't really make sense as to how he took so long to evolve, and Janeway only took like 2 minutes.
He kidnaps her, and then they go past the threshold again.
Yeah.
And then apparently they come out, and they're on this planet, and the crew. So Chakotay and Tuvok go to find them, and they're these two giant lizards. And you can spoil what really happens there.
Yeah, and they have babies.
They have like baby lizards.
They leave the babies there. Now, Prime Directive and all that, did they? I don't know. Maybe there's no other.
I don't think they collected those kids.
No, they didn't. They left them there. They said they did that, but that's against the Prime Directive.
They left their DNA there.
They left them there on a planet that anyone else could go there and see them or take them or whatever. Anyway, they contaminated the planet. Anyway, they're two giant, like, salamanders.
So in this episode, Tom Paris, does two things. He breaks the threshold, the transwarp threshold.
Yes.
They shouldn't have named the episode that. And also, he's the only member of the crew and the only man ever to impregnate Captain Janeway. So what do they say in Star Trek? To boldly go where no man has gone before?
Yeah.
So,
But what I think,
and when they bring them back, they have to get these giant lizards.
but that's the part we don't see, and that's where the episode couldn't have been hilarious.
That would have been, and bringing them back on the shuttle.
Yes, that's the part that really
Actually, they would just beamed them up.
No, but they really messed up. They should have had 2 big terrariums for them and had them in there. That would have been just gold, right?
But they just stunned them, and then they got to pick them up.
But I mean, they didn't show any of that. They just all of a sudden went to their normal selves. That would have been hilarious. They could have had so much fun with it.
Well, that would cost more with effects, right?
At the end, they have a little bit of fun with it, but it's kind of like really quick. It's over.
Yeah, so they're sitting in the med bay, and so, of course, immediately they're fine because, you know,
right away.
science medicine.
Like, it's so fast that they're
future
fine.
Science.
Like, all of a sudden.
And they're sitting there, but the doctor says they have to stay there for a couple of days so he can keep eye on them. And Janeway's just joking around with them, like, hey, I want to have kids, but not with you, buddy.
Well, yeah.
It was kind of weird that the captain saying that.
Kind of opportunity. Like, it could have been really funny. I tell you. Like, seriously, they could have leashes on these salamanders. I don't know. It could have been just hilarious. But this is not the lower decks. It's boring Voyager. So even when they have some good material, they don't quite do.
This was a bad episode, but I had fun with it.
I remembered it.
Okay.
And I was like, I think they're going to turn into lizards and have babies.
If only they had thrown Seska in there, this would have been, and 7 of 9 somehow, this would have been a way better episode,
anyway,
I'm guessing.
It was something else.
Okay, did you enjoy this episode?
I did.
Because it was it was bad,
and I remember
but it was fun. Yeah, you had an interesting inner monologue going on as you were watching it.
It's like, it can't be.
It can't be that lizard episode.
They can't.
I'm sure I just dreamed that.
Exactly. I was like, I swear they're going to turn into lizards and have babies.
Apparently, there's an episode coming up this season that's even weirder.
Oh, gosh,
that fans say where 2 characters combine. And you might know what I'm talking about there, but we're getting to it.
These are when it gets too hot out and I gotta come down here and watch TV with you.
What? We had fun with watching this bad episode. It makes me think, one, who wrote this? And when they wrote it, how much alcohol and cocaine was involved in coming up with this? Because this is off the wall, off the charts, wacky, ridiculous.
They should have just sent the shuttle backwards or something and reversed it. It didn't. The explanation didn't make much sense, but I thought it was fun. So
I think they could have come up with a better excuse to turn them into lizards.
I just thought it was hilarious that they were giant salamanders.
Yeah, and that they had like 3 or 4 babies.
They were amphibious because they had like gills and stuff.
I don't know.
They weren't lizards.
I don't know.
Or a new kind of creature.
They look like, I don't know, like very docile, fat versions of like a kimono dragon.
But they didn't have scales. They were really salamander-like. Anyway, they had like whiskers. They were kind of like, one of those fish with the whiskers.
I definitely give that episode a thumbs up. And give us a thumbs up too, because the fans would appreciate it if you enjoyed this segment of Chakotay's Odyssey, featuring the adventures of Janeway. Now it's time for comments. We won't read out our social media information. You can contact us on email, Twitter, Instagram. Our social media information is down in the description below, along with the chapters and everything. We got one comment from a nice fan, and it was on one of our Secret Invasion episodes, and they completely disagree with what we said.
Oh, they're liking it.
Yeah, so from PlayDat1643 said, Ben and Amelia deserve an Emmy next year. I honestly love this and best of the Disney Plus shows in my opinion.
Well, I'm glad you're liking it.
Me too.
I just think I can't get into it.
Thanks for the comment, and yeah, I'm jealous.
I'm trying, but it's not doing it for me.
I'm jealous. Maybe it's just because we've seen too much, or maybe I'm just too old to be impressed by this kind of stuff now, but man, it's not working for me, you know? And if it's working for you, I think that's great. And don't let me or anyone else take that away from you.
It's like Picard. I felt that final season, the end few episodes, I just thought the motivations were wrong, and I
You know.
just didn't care for it. But most people really, really liked it, and they didn't like
Any
the other
kind
season.
of story, whether it be a movie or a TV series or miniseries or a book or something, it could be your favorite thing, your favorite story, and someone else it'll be the thing they hate the most. Okay,
Well,
it's
I
the
don't-
worst thing ever for them.
I don't hate
And that's
it.
just because it's art. I don't hate it either.
But
I just
I'm
wish it was
just like,
better.
Every episode, we're like, oh no, that's.
So
If only they just fixed that. Yeah.
it's not
Anyway.
as some good as some of the
I'm
other
jealous.
Marvel stuff, you know.
I'm jealous that you like it.
So thanks for the comment, Playdat1643, and yeah, we're glad you're enjoying that. That's all the comments that we have, so we'll sign off here now.
Yeah.
So Fluffy Kitty here needs to get some more rest. So take care, everyone.
Bye.